Shalom, family.
Shalom, family.
We have another testimony that we want to share with you all. It's another brother that we've been knowing for a few years now. He actually came to an event. That's how we met him.
Yes.
It was pretty interesting, huh? How
Yes.
we met him.
Mm-hmm. He came to, I believe, our very first
Yeah, I think it was.
Kodesh event. And the brother's name is Raphael Karo Yehuda Yisrael. And he shared his testimony with us a long time ago. And he wants us to share the testimony with you all as well.
Yeah. It was amazing when we first met him. He actually came to the event with Caucasian,
A Gentile,
yes. Woman, and she stayed outside, and he came into the event with everyone. But that was interesting because we had a chance to pray for him before the event ended, and I prayed for him. Me and someone else had prayed for him, and it was just amazing because he was in tears then, and he knew that Yah was pulling on him to go in a certain direction.
Yes, and he was going through some serious things during that time. Over the years, we've kept in touch, and he has shared with us some very, very interesting dreams, as well as occurrences in his life and things relating to his. He wasn't married to the Gentile, but he dated her for a long time.
Yes.
One thing, too, that Brother Raphael wanted to make very clear to us, he said during the whole time that he was dealing with this Gentile, he said he wasn't like a lot of brothers who just start bashing the daughters of Zion just because he's dating a Gentile. He wasn't like that at all. He still loved and had respect for his sisters as well. And didn't feel the need to bash the daughters of Zion because of a choice that he made. But his testimony will show and explain all of what he had to go through as a result.
Yes.
And there was some very powerful demonic things as well that he had to experience. If I'm not mistaken, I think his testimony is going to be in two parts. But right now we're going to be sharing part one with you. If a second part comes about, then we will share that as well. I think he said this was part one. But anyway, his testimony is going to highlight some of the demonic things that he had to go through as a result of being in this relationship with this Gentile. And this is for our people to listen and take heed, okay? And to repent. These brothers are sharing these testimonies because they want you to know the truth, okay? Any sister or any brother who has similar testimonies that you would like to share, please contact us at contact@watchmanreports.com because it's very important that our people understand this and get into a place of repentance, okay? This has nothing to do with anything else but repentance, okay? So anyway, we're going to go ahead and roll the brother's testimony. Mm-hmm. And shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, family. My name is Raphael Karo Yehuda Yisrael. I know many of you have seen me post on the Watchman Reports on YouTube and also redirecting. And at times I may get deep into particular stories of my past and experiences. I guess I like to express myself and express through, the testimony of my life and what I've experienced, because it amazes me how deep this is. Like many of us who at one point were, many of us were Christians, some was Muslims, some was just, many of us, we're all born sinners. We know this already. So, and many of us may have lived lives, more than likely we've lived lives out of the Most High's will for many, many years until we came into this truth, this understanding. And my understanding is that the truth is way beyond just the history of who we are as Israelites. We know that already. We know the history of we know about Deuteronomy 28 and the curses due to the sins of our forefathers, and we can see how it's still playing out today in society. And it's it's just a new thing when you really experience the truth as far as the spiritual aspect. That's what amazes me, because like many of us, I was a sinner, and I lived a life reckless, and it's amazing that the Most High, His grace is so amazing. I'm looking at a scripture my mother have posted on the wall. It says, "For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God," or the gift of Yah, and stuff like that. That's what it's right there. It's been there for years. So it's deep that I've probably seen that coming to my mother's house so many times and never really understood it until now, how real that is. So my testimony goes like this. I was a man who was in a relationship with a Gentile for 9.5 years, and it was not a righteous relationship at all. But I guess I'm trying to. I don't want to go into it like this, but this is my testimony of how I became awoke. Right. I was born uptown, born in New York City, Mount Sinai Hospital. My home was in the Bronx. When I was born, my grandmother and my mother, my mother told me that I wasn't able to open my eyes for about, I think, a week or two. My mother just passed away about 8-9 months ago, so I wish, if she was here today, I'd be able to ask her specifically. But I remember she's told me that it took a while for me to open my eyes, and it was definitely like over a week. And she said the doctors would tell her, "Do not touch my eyes, leave them alone." And my grandmother from my father's side, she told my mother that I was a seer. Now, always boggled me, like, how would my grandmother know this? Or why would she even make a statement like this? But as I started to dig into information about my background, especially coming from the Bronx, where uptown, in New York especially, uptown, Harlem, Bronx area, all over, though. This is all over the U.S., in the world. But there's a lot of witchcraft and stuff like that. So my grandmother, who passed away also, just about, I think, 2017, December, she was a member of the Eastern Star organization, which most of you know would be like the female version of the Freemasons. And she also partook in Santeria. Santeria is I know it's a lot of Latinos do it. It's definitely big in the Caribbean, but a lot of it comes from Africa. I know it deals with like seven spirits and stuff like that, 7 African spirits, and a lot. If anybody who's from the Bronx or lived uptown in Harlem, you notice, especially around here in New York, mostly around like Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Haitians. They'll have like 7 beads on their neck. You see, like, they're really like people walking around with like all of these beads on their neck, on their wrists and stuff like that. And each bead represents a particular spirit of protection. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I'm not going to say I know much about it. I just know certain stories of things that occurred throughout my family. I'm not going to get into those stories because, but my mother's told me things about things family members did to other people and so on. So anyway, when I was a child, I remember my mother told me in the Bronx, I ran in her room saying, "Hey, Ma, I shot a guy with my blue gun." It was a guy with a hat standing in the kitchen. So my mother used to always tell me that. Fast forward, when I just turned 20 in 2003, and I was coming from one of my friend's house. And I went, I had my normal routine. I go to the bagel store, get me my egg and cheese in the morning, whatever. And then I came home. It was probably around springtime. The spring was just about coming in, maybe around late March, early April, and stuff like that. Because you can see that the leaves are starting to bloom on the trees lightly, and you can, the air, you can hear the birds starting to chirp. So anyway, it was like 7 in the morning, really bright, sunny and stuff like that. I was laying on my bed, just about to go to sleep because I was up all night. No hard drugs, nothing like that. Probably drank a little beer here and there, maybe a little liquor, but my mind was clear. For some reason, my body, I just started getting tingles. So as I got these tingles, I fell asleep into like a deep sleep. Now, I can still hear the television on. The television is still running. And I looked at the TV, but the TV was pitch black, and the room was black. I'm like, wait, in my mind, I'm thinking, it was just like morning time. How is it nighttime this fast? So I'm looking at the TV, I see the TV's pitch black, but I can hear the voices coming through the TV. Then I looked at the window. The window, there's no leaves in the leaves. There's no leaves on the trees. Like the trees look like autumn or even fall. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, I know we just about hitting spring. Like, I can smell the pollen, I can see the leaves. What's going on? So then I look in the corner next to my closet, and there's a tall being standing there with like a cloak on. It looked like a Grim Reaper. I couldn't see his face, but it had like a hoodie on. I went crazy, but I couldn't really move. I was like trapped. So I was like, I couldn't even move my jaw, my mouth. Mind you, I was not a religious person at that time. I was a straight up drug dealer at that time. So I didn't really know what to do, and it was walking to me close. It was walking, and I just went berserk, like, because I seen it walking to me, and I just like, it's like I gritted my teeth, and I kind of like moved my jaw really hard, and I broke out of it, and then I dove into the corner of my room on the floor, like, what the heck was that? And the back of my head was like really hurting me bad, like back here, it was hurting me so bad. So that was that. I had no clue what that was. I was afraid. That was the first time that, especially in my adult life, that I've experienced something like that. So then, as I got into some trouble, I don't want to get into the details of that. I got arrested and spent some time out in Virginia. So when I was in Virginia, it was lunchtime, and I was in my cell. My cell was upstairs on the second tier. So I'm in a cell with my cellie, and it's lunchtime. We taking a nap, and I'm laying down, and then again the tingles start coming upon me again. So I'm like, whoa! I remember this feeling from months ago, and I'm like, what the heck is this? And the whole room turned black. I can hear the COs, the correction officers, walking up and down the tier because you can hear the chains on their belts and stuff like that. So I'm saying to myself, something's like, what is this? I look out the window, I can see the window, and it's nighttime again. Then I looked up, like I was going to look up at my cellie, and I looked up at the corner of the ceiling, and there was like a little munchkin thing upside down on the corner of the cell. I couldn't really tell his face. It looked like it was kind of like smushed a little bit, but it was like grayish. And again, I went like, oh, what the heck is that? And I woke up out of it. I was paralyzed, but I normally used to always move my jaw to get out of it, and it hurted a lot when I did it because there was no other way. I didn't know. And at the time, like I said, I wasn't practicing anything. Of course, I've been to church when I was a kid, but I really didn't grow up. My dad was a Muslim, my mother was a Christian, but my house was a mess. Nobody was really practicing anything. Whatever. So, I got out of that. One thing I'm gonna I want to go back real quick. I remember when I was in my early teens, maybe like 12, 13. There was so much chaos going on in my house. I remember saying to my parents, I was like, yo, what are we, cursed or something? Like, what's going on? This all may have factored into the witchcraft that they was doing in the past, not closing any doors. But anyway, so, I get out of jail, whatever. I go to Florida. I was in Virginia, then I went to Florida. I ended up messing with a mixed girl. I met this girl. She was mixed. She was half black and half French. And half white. Her dad was from France, but he was black, and her mother was white from Florida. So she was mixed and stuff like that. I didn't know about no Hebrew Israelites at this time, whatever. I just came out of jail and met this girl, and you guys know what it is and stuff like that. So I stayed with her for a few months and stuff like that. And I used to have a lot of weird out-of-body experiences in her house when she used to go to work and stuff like that. So then one day, I was getting to know people in the community, and trying to make some money out there, doing my little whatever around the community. and I needed more money. So I ended up going back to New York to make some money in the streets in New York, and then wanted to come back down to Florida. But when I went to New York, I ended up getting some of my old CDs. So I went to New York, got my CD, went back down to Florida after having a warrant in New York. So I ain't gonna get into that. Anyway, so then, I'm smoking some weed, I'm listening to the Wu-Tang CD, and they talking about the Illuminati and stuff like that, which I've never heard of this before. So fast forward, I get back to New York, and I started doing research first in North Carolina, actually, at my dad's house about this whole Illuminati stuff. Went back to New York, and I ended up going to the Statue of Liberty. And I actually started to see, walking around New York City, I'm looking at the statues and everything like that. And I'm like, wow, like, this is pretty interesting. Because now I'm starting to see patterns everywhere and stuff like that. Anyway, I always was curious about those visions I was having about these beings. And I'm saying to myself, what is this? What is this about? So anyway, 2005, I started to practice Islam a little bit more and stuff like that. I started to look into Islam for, fasting with it and stuff, but it just wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't. I would read the Bible also, because for some reason my dad told me, like, it's the same thing almost and stuff. So I kind of would, like, read the Bible, read the Quran. But Islam, it wasn't for me. So anyway, I met some good brothers that I always believed that the Most High led to me, some Latino dude that actually confirmed to me about the whole Illuminati stuff and how, a lot of the people in power worship the devil and Satan and stuff like that. It actually made me cry and stuff like that. I was in a halfway house in the Bronx, and so I'm living in the halfway house, and he actually introduced me to this book I have over here called Behold the Pale Horse by William Cooper and stuff like that, showing about the world and the corruption of the world and stuff like that. So I started to read that book a lot. Then fast forward, it was I moved to this block. I was writing some, I'm just getting into the spiritual aspect of how things became. It was a terrible time. It was a shooting on one of my block actually, and this little girl named Nana, like 5 years old, got caught up in the crossfire and she got killed. So a lot of the Puerto Ricans was going crazy on the block and stuff like that. So I'm walking towards the projects to go to one of my homegirls' house to go hang out with her and tell her what happened on the street. And I get a phone call too, like, yo, my boy, one of my homeboys from Staten Island got shot too, and he died and stuff like that. So I'm like, dang, I'm just like, bad enough this little girl just got killed on my block. Now I'm going back to my mother's neighborhood. My friend just got killed out there. So then I go out there the next day in the morning. Everybody's crying. We're walking on the block. It's me and like 3 of my friends, and out of nowhere is a brother walking toward us, one brother in the middle of the street. This is my introduction to the Hebrew Israelites. So I wish I could remember this brother's name. I really do. This was 2005. So this brother comes up, and first thing he shows us was the picture of Jesus with the horns. And talking about Caesar Borgia and this, that, and the third. And it amazed me. Because, I got some of my homeboys are still crying. Everybody's drinking liquor. I've got a little liquor in my system. My homeboy just got murdered. And I'm still saying to myself, like, but this is deep. Like, I'm like, yo, like, this brother's coming in here talking about who we are, we're the Israelites. I don't even know what this is. So he's like, yo, if you want to, he said, this is around the Feast of Tabernacles. It was around, because it was late, it was like early, mid-September, 2005. So he said, if I wanted to learn more, they got a feast tomorrow, the next day, in Harlem, in 155th, the Polo Grounds, and stuff like that. So, Harlem Heights, however you want to call it, Washington Heights. So anyway, the next day I go up there, but me, still being in the streets, I'm drinking 40 ounces, going to church. So I go to the church, and when I go there, is the dark skinned brother? They call him the Comforter. He was there. So I'm sitting in there. There's a lot of people in there. It's got to be like 50, 60 people in there and stuff like that. And I'm sitting down with amongst everybody, like I said, I drunk a 40. So I'm in there. I'm not bugging. I'm just in there just whatever. So then the brother basically speaks, and he's like, yo, anybody in here believe in God? Stand up. Now me, I believe, I thought I believed in God. I'm like, in my mind, I'm telling myself to, okay, stand up like everybody else is going to stand up. But when I tried to stand up, my legs locked, and my legs wouldn't stand up. And I'm like, I was keeping like, why is this happening? So when everybody sat back down, he said, security, Get that man out of here. Now, of course, I knew he was talking about me, but I tried to play it off. So the security went and actually was going to grab the guy next to me. But he was like, no, that brother right there. So I'm like, man, like, what? What'd I do? What'd I do? And then, they basically escorted me out the church and stuff like that. The brother that basically met me the day before the brother who introduced me to the Hebrew Israelites, he said, yo, brother, look, man, don't worry about it. We're going to get you right. Just come back and see us tomorrow on 125th in Harlem. So I'm feeling depressed. I'm drinking 40 ounces. I'm like, yo, like, what the heck? Am I the devil or something like that? Am I evil? Like, why would they just kick me out and stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? So it really did bother me that happened and stuff. It really did. That it bothered me a whole lot.
In Jordan.
Oh man, my bad. That happened and stuff. So I'm walking over the bridge past Yankee Stadium, whatever. The next day, I stand out on 125th for like 5-6 hours for them to let me in. I went down to 125th probably like 8 o'clock at night. They let me in probably like 2-3 in the morning. I stood out there all night. So when I went inside, it was 3 of them sitting in the chair in the podium and stuff like that, and I stood before all 3 of them, and they was asking me, do I believe in the Most High? I was like, yeah, They was like, why did I not stand up? And I was like, I did. I do believe in God. I don't know why I didn't stand up. I wanted to. And then they was like, so they asked me some questions about who I am and stuff, and I told them, I was like, my mother's grew up as a Baptist and a Seventh-day Adventist. My dad is a Muslim, Sunni Muslim, and this is kind of my background. So they was saying, is it, being that my dad was Muslim, is this the reason why I kind of was a little hesitant to stand up? And I was like, no, I don't, whatever. But basically, they asked me some questions, and they told me, okay, I could come by and start getting some lessons. So, I started to go with them for a couple, maybe like 3 weeks. I was visiting, coming like once or twice a week, writing stuff down in the Bible and stuff like that. But I ain't gonna lie, I was not really comfortable with the way because at the time I'm still new to this. They had police vans across the street. It looked like FBI was watching these guys. Every time you come inside the building, you had to take out your cell phones and put it in buckets and stuff like that. They didn't want no cameras or cell phones in there. It's very militant. I ain't gonna, they was doing their little training and stuff like that. They was very aggressive, and at the time I was not familiar with none of this. So I was very much like, I didn't know. Plus, my mother was worried. She was telling me that there was a story in the past that they killed somebody and stuff like that up in Harlem a couple years back and stuff. So they, and plus, the whole story about cults. I hope this is not a cult. I hope this is not a cult, stuff like that. So, anyway, I stopped going, but I continued to read the Bible on my own. So then, about the following month later, I went to go visit my brother at my mother's house. And I was laying on the floor in the room. And again, the tingles came. I started feeling nervous. I started feeling the tingles coming from my body. But this time, the room didn't turn black. So I said to myself, something's going to happen. And as I'm laying on the floor, a little munchkin walks in the room, 4 feet maybe. Cloak on, alien head, straight up and down. What you perceive as an alien, that's exactly what I seen. Big eyes, gray face, walk right, like to go behind, to try to go behind my head. And I had to get out of it, like a lock, did the jaw thing again, like, and I broke out of that. So then after a while, I'm starting to say to myself, yo, this is not right. I don't know what's going on, but whatever this is, I got a feeling I'm going to have to deal with this later on, either when I die, because I know it's spiritual, I just can't understand what it is. I don't want to just say it's an alien, but I'm like, what the heck is it? I had no clue what it is. So anyway, years go by. Not years go by. I ended up going to school. Start trying to live positive and stuff like that. I was, again, living as a Hebrew Israelite. I had my beard. I was about 20 at the time, 22. I was like 22, clean, trying to stay away from trouble and stuff like that. I didn't want to deal with those drugs and nothing like that. I went to college. I signed up for college. I went to school. But then I ended up becoming negative again, living in uptown and stuff like that. I started getting that itch for the money again. I ended up earning the things that I needed to earn at school. So then I ended up basically falling back into the streets with a Gentile female mix. She was Italian, Irish, and Puerto Rican, Gentile, whatever. So she ends up, it all starts, the funny thing is it started with music. I was listening to jazz music. I was being positive. I was listening to music that wasn't about none of that negative stuff. But I remember around late 2006, maybe November, December. That Rich Boy came out from Mobile, Alabama. Throw them D's on it. The whole school I was in was singing that song every day. And then I was watching a music video with them, and it just seeing him with the cars, with the Cadillac and everything like that. And it's like that greed just started to pick up in me. And you know what's so funny? I remember one morning I went to we call it like a little lounge room. And I remember walking in circles. And I remember pondering on my thoughts, like, what will happen if I would just go back into the streets for a little bit to get some money so I can buy me a camera? Because at the time I wanted to do documentaries and stuff like that. And I had a friend that already was into like making beats and music. And my college professor actually told me he would let me hold his equipment as well. But for some reason, me being hard-headed, I wanted to get my own camera. Even though I had a job, I was working, I was doing, but I guess the greed was like I could go out there and make more money. And then the funny thing is, I just let the thought go by, left it alone. Out of nowhere, one of my friend's exes calls me because one of my friends went to prison. So she calls me and asks me, can I get her some drugs in the Bronx? So I'm like, all right, I see what I could do and stuff like that, which I should have never, mind you, I'm still reading the Bible, but I'm like I said, the greed started messing with my head. So then I end up going to get a new job at this company downtown Manhattan. And come to find out, I run into a brother that live in the same projects in the Bronx that I really never talked to like that. But come to find out, he works at the job, so I started to get to know him. Come to find out, him and his boy, they kind of run in the block. So I'm like, wow, it's like everything's just lining up. Everything's just lining up. Mind you, I was living positive before, and then this girl calls me, asks me to get her something. I didn't even really pursue it yet, but it just seems like automatically I go to this job in Manhattan and come to find out I run into this guy that lives all the way in the Bronx in the same community I'm staying at. And he's the connect. So basically we talk, I get to know him for a couple of weeks. I didn't have no money and they throw me consignment. They just gave me the drugs for free. So I go to Staten Island, I give the girl the stuff, she does what she does. I come back to New York, to the Bronx, I give them their money and it's on. I go right back into the dark world. So now, while I'm in that world, I felt a tug in my spirit, and the spirit, and it was like something pulling me. I always felt this pull, and it was like within my conscience, too, like, don't do this, don't be with this girl, don't mess around with this girl. And she used to always say, "Oh, I could hear your brain clicking. I could hear your brain clicking," because it was almost like she was trying to figure out, what is this? Is this a relationship, or are we just screwing around and stuff like that? And my mind is like, I'm just thinking like, yo, man, I just need you to get this money for me and stuff like that. And it's like a part of me is wrestling, like, no, like, get away, go back and do what you're doing. You was doing good and stuff like that. But I left everything. I left the college alone. I left the school alone. I left the girl I was talking to in the college, which was way finer. I left her alone to go back into the streets with this girl because I was making money with her and stuff like that. And I was just focused on the money, basically. And also, I fell into the lust and the greed and all of that, too, and stuff like that. So I picked my Bible down. Mind you, I was practicing the Sabbath for like about a year and a half. Like, the best, more like a 7-day Adventist person. Like, I just won't go out, won't watch TV, won't do certain things on Saturdays and stuff like that. And I ended up going back into this wicked life, being with this girl, sleeping with her on a Sabbath. Basically, I went astray, all right? So this is my testimony right here. What I'm getting at is the repercussions that came with it. Years later, I'm going to jump years later. So one of my boys, one day I went to his house, and he has a book from David Icke sitting in his kitchen. So I'm reading through the book, and out of nowhere, there's a drawing of this alien head called Lamb. And I said to myself, wait a minute, that's the same thing that I be seeing, when I had those attacks and stuff like that. This is how I learned about Aleister Crowley. So, because I started typing it up on the computer, and then it was like, they said this particular being came to visit Aleister Crowley, and that's when Aleister Crowley wrote the Book of the Law, and so like that, back in like, I think 1910s, 1915s, 1920, around the early, times of the 20th century and stuff like that. So, I'm like, whoa, so now I'm like, okay, so this is a demon, and so like that. I'm like, yo, this is a demon. This dude drew a picture of a demon, and this dude is evil than a mother, because I got a movie on him too, and this guy was sick in this movie I bought about his life and stuff like that. This dude was sick. So, but at the same time, I'm still selling drugs. I got a job. I'm trying I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out my way in this life. I'm guessing, okay, maybe if I save up some money, get into real estate, or if I get the camera, which I did buy the camera, and get into the documentary game or music game, because I had a friend that was related to a rapper, Method Man from Wu-Tang Clan. So I was doing all types of things, but every time I try to do something positive, it didn't work. If I wanted to try to go, so I had my CDL, Class A CDL, I tried to go get a job driving trucks with companies that would tell me they would send me out and hire me out of state, because I was thinking maybe if I go out of state, that'd change everything. But it seemed like every time I called these companies, they wouldn't accept me. But it seemed like every time I did something negative, it'd work out perfectly. I meet new connects. I start making more money. I start going from making a few $100s a day to $1,000 a day to at times at my peak $3,000 a day. So I started, I started going on vacations and trips, showing off, feeling like buying different cars. I had a nice little Cadillac, chrome wheels. I had a number, I just was, whatever. So anyway, the point is this. Later on, hanging around this girl, come to find out she was addicted to pills on the low. I didn't know for a while. She was addicted to drugs, and she was always trying to give me the pills. I remember I was working at a glass company, and I hurt my back, and she gave me some Percocets. Me being a black dude, I ain't gonna lie, I don't be knowing about no doggone pills. The only thing I knew about was weed, drinking liquor, and that was really it. Probably a little angel dust here and there. That was really it. I wasn't into the hard stuff. So she gave me the Percocets, and I was liking it, not knowing that it's an opiate and stuff like that. Me, I guess, starting to trust this girl, thinking she ain't really gonna do nothing to me. I figured that she was possibly just knowing my ignorance, trying to get me hooked. So, because she was already hooked, but I didn't know. She kept it that well, a secret, for a while. So as I started to take these pills every day, then I started saying, okay, I don't want them no more. So I stopped doing it after 3-4 days, and I started getting really bad headaches. But I left the pills alone because I figured it was the pills. So I left the pills alone. Anyway, later on down the line, it was a whole bunch of mess that went into all of this stuff. The point is this: I got addicted to drugs again. Mind you, I forgot to tell you, I also caught tuberculosis when I was in jail with a Mexican. So I had tuberculosis in my lungs. I had a warrant in New York. So when I went back to Rikers Island out of Virginia, they gave me the TB shot in my arm. My arm swelled up and stuff like that. So I had to take medication for tuberculosis and stuff like that. Also, I had high blood pressure, and I also gained a lot of weight being with this girl. I went from being like 185 to 250 being with this girl, eating a lot and sitting around being lazy, just driving around all day making money, not working out like I used to and stuff like that. So my health was terrible. Then eventually, being around her, I started smoking cigarettes. Got it. Then one thing led to another. I was working at a carpet cleaning company. I ended up getting hurt again. I ended up getting hooked on some pills, oxycodones. We call them Percocet. We call them the blues. They 30s. The 30 milligrams oxycodones. And I ended up moving into a building with this guy that I was making money with, this white boy. I ain't gonna get into his name. And come to find out, his dad was into reading palms and stuff like that, palm reading and stuff like that. I ain't gonna lie, his dad looked like a doggone wizard. Like, he was really old, gray hair, pointy nose, all of that. And he always wanted to read my palm, but I wouldn't let him read my palm. Funny thing is, years before that, I went to a party with my ex. She brought me to a house with a bunch of Puerto Ricans, and they was all in there, had family members that was into Santeria. They all in there walking around blowing cigars in the air and all of this with their beads on. So I was constantly around this stuff, not realizing too much what was going on. So anyhow, I ended up taking these pills because I got hurt, because this dude introduced it to me. He was like, hey, take this pill and it's going to take the pain away. I took it, like, I'm not going to get addicted to it because I'm just going to do it once or twice and whatever. But you end up falling in love with the stuff, real talk. So I ended up falling in love with the stuff. Started selling it, and then I started getting deep into the street game, started transferring from selling crack to selling pills to selling heroin, whatever. And I got hooked on my own supply, just to say that. So what happened was, during all of this time of wickedness, I still always kept in the back of my mind the Israelites. So I would still be cruising through YouTube, cruising through Google, looking for answers, looking for information. Like, what is this? What am I? Who am I? And I used to always pray to, I didn't like saying God anymore, so a lot of times I would make little prayers and affirmations, and I'll say things like, my dear Heavenly Father, or my Creator who has created me, who has put the blood in my veins, the oxygen in my lungs, who's responsible for my being. I pray to you and stuff like that. And then I ask them to guide me, protect me, help me, and heal me. I used to say this for years: guide me, protect me, help me, heal me. Because even though I was in the streets, I had the feeling like I got to get out of this. I got to figure out a way to back up, because it becomes a trap. When you're in it so long, it really becomes a trap and stuff like that. It really is. And I know a lot of brothers know what I'm talking about, and sisters too. So anyway, after years go on, I started, when I was with this girl for 9.5 years, I haven't had no attacks during that time until I started to look into more Hebrew Israelites on YouTube. And then eventually in 2015, I came across the Whited Out series, part 1. It was part 1 and part 2, I think, was out at the time. Maybe even part 3, but part 1 and part 2. So I came across that, and I watched it. I remember the first time I watched it, I had a little criticism about the Capone picture. That was because I was saying that was Capone. In the video, it said that was Amaya Lansky, I think it said, but it was actually Al Capone. So that's what I'm. Growing up out here in New York, you always kind of watch these gangster movies, and I grew up off of all those Italian mafia movies. I've seen a lot of them, so that's why I kind of knew the picture was not Amaya Lansky. That was actually Al Capone and stuff like that. But it's not a big deal. So anyway, so then was deep is that I was getting deeper into the drugs, deeper, and it became like even way more darker at this time. And then I got addicted to Xanax too. So now I'm mixing pills, Xanax, and heroin, and I'm getting high, but I'm still making money. I'm not in the streets as a fan. I got a phone. I got 3 phones. I got clientele. So my point was I was just making money, sitting home all day, getting high, going out. I became an addict, though. I was an addict. So what happened to me in December was crazy. I'm telling you, probably like the day after Christmas. My ex went out with her daughter, and they could not be found for 3-4 hours. I remember I was calling them on the phone. I was trying to get off these drugs. I was trying to get off the Xanax. I was trying to get off the pills. And it felt like lightning hit me in my head around, literally, like, I'm telling you, it was like either the day before or the day after Christmas. And it was like, I heard something like, bang! And I had this vision, and it was like a man holding stuff together, like he was strong. And I'm like, I didn't know what it was, but it felt like he was trying to hold my mind together to where I felt like if he didn't do that, I would have went crazy, or I would have snapped. And I remember my nerves were shaking, and I was very scared. This is 2015. And I remember seeing stairs and stuff like that. So then after that, 2016 came in. When 2016 came in, I remember seeing a video of these people actually doing the first annual satanic ceremony in front of a government building in one of these states, in front of the Senate building or something. I don't know. So I'm like, yo, what the heck is this? I've never seen nothing like this. Like blatantly, it was on the news and everything like that. Like RT or one of them. You can YouTube it. You got all of these people. They was promoting homosexuality. They was all wearing black, and they had like black American flags and stuff like that. But it was like a satanic thing. So then out of nowhere, I started hearing that Trump was running and stuff like that. And it's like, I was like, yo, what the heck is going on? And I'm like, and then, you know me, we all looking into the conspiracy stuff. I'm learning about FEMA camps and everything like that. And I'm saying to myself, yo, I cannot, if this is going to hit the fan out here and things is going to get bad out here, I cannot be addicted to these drugs. I've been trying to get off of drugs many times. I've been in detoxes, all of that. It didn't work. Medicine from the doctors, nothing worked. So I said to myself, I got to get baptized. And the perfect thing was the Watchman of the Board posted a video talking about how they got a baptism coming up and stuff like that. So, I made the arrangements and stuff like that. I paid for everything. And then I planned on getting clean before I get baptized. So I ordered me some Dr. Sebi. So the Dr. Sebi came in the mail on April 2nd. I took it April 2nd. I started to take it, but it was hell. It was hell. Throwing up, all of that, I'm not taking no drugs. I'm not sleeping. I'm not eating. Of course, going through hallucinations and stuff like that, right? And then I remember opening up my phone. For some reason, I just went there, but I opened up my phone and look around the room, and I'll see these little glowing lights in the closet first. Then I'll see like a glowing lights of crosses on my bed. Then I'll see glowing lights under the bed. And I'm like, what the heck is this? So then one day, I'm hallucinating, mind you, I'm detoxing. I'm like 5-6 days in, no drugs, no nothing. But I'm in pain and stuff like that, throwing up everything. I'm watching this movie, this gangster movie on TV, about this Irish gangster from Boston, and this dude ends up killing this girl, this teenage girl, and rapes her. So when he kills her and rapes her, I'm looking at the movie and I'm saying to myself, yo, this is sick. And when I said that, I felt like this pop in my head. And when I felt that, the devil popped up on the screen. Like you could see first the emblem, like the image. It was like a horn god, head thing. It was red, and it was jumping around on the screen, and it was saying, googly goo, googly goo, goo. And I'm saying to myself, is this for real? So then I look at my curtains in the room, and the curtains is everywhere. Of course, it's in my mind, but the battlefield is in the mind. I didn't notice at the time. So I'm like, yo, what the heck is this? I'm looking around the room. It's not going away. It's not going away. You would think that it'd go away. So I put the Watchman of the Borough on. You see him go, while they talking, preaching, you see this particular image will go behind them and put TNT behind them like he's going to blow them up and stuff like that. And I'm like, what the heck is this? So, a day go by. I leave the room. I come back into the room. I cut the TV back on. And it's still there. It's still in the room. I'm hearing these chimes like bells. Like ding, ding, ding. And it's like, googly goo, googly goo. So I'm like 6 days in now. Nothing. I can't sleep. I'm talking about I haven't had no sleep. My girl is keeping ex-girl saying at the time, if you're not going to get no sleep, then we're going to have to take you to the hospital. I didn't want to go to the hospital, but after about 6-7 days of no sleep, I started losing time. So they bring me to the hospital. I go to the hospital. It gets berserk in there. Berserk. I'm talking about. I'm seeing him in the curtains. I'm seeing him laughing at me. He's like this image, and it's just it was just crazy. It was crazy, and I'm getting all types of vivid visions about some things I don't really want to speak about because some things it does connect with the girl. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I started to realize, and I believe the Most High was showing me was something wasn't right with her, and because I was getting these, I was seeing how I wasn't supposed to be it was this man smirking at me. He was wearing a cloak, and he looked like an Italian type, a white dude. He had brown brunette hair, pointy nose, but he was always smirking and smiling. But then I was seeing him with her. And I've been seeing him for 6, 7, 8 months after that. Me personally, I don't know if that's the devil in the flesh, but it's somebody, you know what I'm saying? So, I was having this vision of, I was seeing good things, I was seeing good things, and then I was seeing bad things. Then I left, right? I left the hospital after they had me in the psych ward. I was in the hospital for 4 days. Then they let me go, and I came back to the house. I didn't want to go in that room for that whole month and a half, 2 months. So I slept in the living room. She brought the mattress out. We laid the mattress on the living room floor, whatever. That was in April. We go to May. I get baptized. So I go down to the Watchman Deborah. I get baptized. Now, when I get baptized, I'm still on drugs, though. I'm still addicted. So, hate to say it, but the Sabi stuff, it works great for everything else. Because I've used it before. I bought Hit Sabi in 2008, and then I bought it again in 2016. But, it didn't help me with the drugs. I still was addicted. So, not to say, anyway, I'm not trying to debunk them. It's just a reason, the point is this. So, now this is where it gets deep. After I got baptized, we went to the motel, and I started having these crazy headaches, really, really bad headaches. And, then the next day, I went to the Watchman. That Sunday, I also went to the event. I spoke to the Watchman about my ex. I talked to him about my experience with these entities that I've been seeing and stuff like that. And Watchman was just listening. He was listening, and he was telling me yo, he said traps and snares, traps and snares. And but he was telling me basically, brother, you're not. This is not a good thing what you're doing right now. You being with this woman and stuff like that, and and me doing what I'm doing. He was just basically telling me this is not a good thing what I'm doing and stuff like that. So I'm sitting there, I'm confused, what the heck is going on? My whole world is going upside down. I was in this relationship for so many years. I was and what the heck is going on? And but I had it within the pit of my soul that we had to separate. So the following day, I called Pastor Dow, and Pastor Dow's people was telling me that it's okay for me to be in a relationship, and they was telling me to come by to eat lunch and stuff like that. So I was actually going to go to Pastor Dow's compound. I met up with one of his escorts at a Walmart, and the guy looked like a cop, or maybe was. He pulled up with a gun, unmarked car, and he just told me to follow him. So we going into the woods, and I'm starting to get nervous. I'm like, I'm not trusting this. So I ended up not going. I ended up, as he continued to drive, I ended up cutting off another streetway and sped up and left. We was in the woods, and I just left out of there, and I ended up finding a cheap motel, and me and my ex went to this motel room. Now, mind you, I'm 2 days in after being baptized, being immersed. So I'm still with the Gentiles. She's still with me. She goes in and, she go wash up, take a shower, comes out, whatever. Of course, me, whatever, I ended up sleeping with her. What's deep is that once I slept with her, I felt like something jumped into me. Like, it's almost like it took my breath away for a second. And I've never felt it before. I was like, what the heck was that? But I was like, all right, whatever. I'm still living wicked at this time. I'm still a drug dealer and a drug user. So we go back to New York. And the next day in New York, my ex goes out to go run some errands. I'm making sales. I got people calling my phone for drugs still. Mind you, I just got baptized. So funny thing is, out of all of the times in my life, I look at my phone to text somebody and the word Lucifer pops up in my phone. So I'm like, why would Lucifer pop up in the phone? And then I got extremely paranoid out of nowhere. And then I started feeling something in the pit of my like right here, like heaviness. It felt like something was snatched out of me. So I'm like, I went in the bathroom, I'm hunching over, and I look in the mirror and I said, am I born again? Because I feel different. And then when I came out the bathroom, I looked at a Campbell's soup can. And for some reason, 666 stood out to me on the can, on the barcode can and stuff like that. So I remember walking around the house, feeling it in the pit. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, and then I'm keeping saying, I'm like, God, please have mercy. Like, I don't know what this is, but please. Like, and then out of nowhere, I'm starting to have more, like, a lot of weird stuff started happening around the house. I'm starting to have visions of this guy again with this white guy and stuff like that, smiling at me, smirking at me and stuff like that. So then I'm like, what is this? So then I remember getting in contact with the watchman. I was calling Yosef. I was probably calling him so much, annoying him at the time. But Yosef, he gave me the watchman's email, and I emailed him, and then the watchman basically asked me, because I said to him, I said, I think I'm possessed. Because I'm having, like, these throbs in my head a lot and stuff like that. Like, especially, like, around here, too. Like, I remember it felt like it popping up and all of this, all the back of my neck, all of that. Plus, like I said, I was seeing this guy all over the place at first. So then the watchman, and I just felt weird. And so the watchman said, what kind of spirit is it? I said, I don't know what kind of spirit is it. And then I remember he was like, ask for the Ruach HaKodesh and stuff like that. I didn't even know what the Ruach HaKodesh was. Just to let you know, people, I really had no clue what I was really doing. So as far as the faith and stuff, I just believed in the Creator, but I didn't really know too much about, I knew about the basics of Israelites and stuff like that. I was learning the basics. So then I'm going to fast forward to, alright, there was a time that my ex got real sick and started throwing up. This was really odd. I don't know, throwing up blood and everything like that. I was like, what the heck is going on? And then I remember me and her ended up messing around, and something strange happened to me. And when I went to the window, I looked at the moon was red and stuff like that. So it's like every time I touched her, things got worse. So then, in the middle of July 2016, I was having these headaches. It was just, oh my goodness, it was too much. And my ex and her daughter was laying down on the living room floor on a mattress, and I sat in a recliner chair, and I started to just like listen to some meditation music that the Watchman of Deborah had on the YouTube channel, and it was with the prayers. It was I think it was the one Strength and stuff like that. And when I put that on, I seen first I seen a cloud. I was not sleeping. I was up. I just closed my eyes, and it was a cloud. And then I ended up seeing a hand knocking on the door. And then the door opened. And when I seen the door open, there was a cloud again, a mist. And it had like my face in the middle of the mist. And the mist was leading me up the stairs. So then, as I started to walk up the stairs, I seen a shield on the side of the stairs. It was like a castle I walked in. You could see like it was stone walls or brick. Yeah, like I was saying. So as I was walking up the stairs, it was a castle, it was a temple. It was you could see like it was like old brick walls, like stone walls, like just like how everything looked, it had that medieval castle type look, I guess. So as I was walking up the stairs again, I noticed the shield on the side of the stairs. And then as I continued to follow the mist with my face, with my image, it led me into a courtyard as I went left. So when I went to a courtyard, there was two pillars, and then I noticed a man standing next to one. And he had you could tell he had like armor on. He had like a helmet on. He had and at first, because I was afraid, and I was, mind you, I'm awake. This is a vision. This is not a dream. This is something different. I'm looking and I'm like afraid, and I'm like, I remember I was keep on saying in my mind, I was saying Yahushua or Yahusha, but Yahushua and stuff like that. I just said it. I just decided to say it, and in my mind, I kind of felt like I wanted to swing at it because it kind of it surprised me. I had no clue what it was, but I do remember getting that email, and I was being told to seek the temple man. So then he had wings wrapped around him. At first, I thought it was spider webs. Why? Because I was doing drugs. I'm sniffing pills and everything like that. I don't know. My mind, I was thinking it was spider webs, but I noticed now it was wings. And then when he opened his wings, his hand came out, and I seen the pills dropping down the well, the cigarettes dropping down the well, the drugs dropping down the well. Everything was going down the well. Mind you, I was addicted. I got addicted to. I was smoking 2 packs a day, 20 sticks of cigarettes a day. I was doing like sometimes a bundle of dope, which is like 10 slabs mixed with like probably 5 to 10 oxycodone 30s pills, blue pills, crushing it up with Xanax. Put it like this: most people would overdose and die off for the amount that I was doing. There was many times that I used to choke in my sleep, and my girl used to wake me up out of my sleep crying and stuff like that, or my ex-girl. Or I was, choking in my sleep, and I believe that the Most High woke me up out of it, because there's a number of people that die like that and so like that. I've known some people that passed away like that. So I was choking in my sleep, and I had to like blow the phlegm and stuff out of my lungs. I used to hate it. I used to be like for hours, just trying, because you could tell like the fluid went into your lungs. I don't think it went all the way in, but it was at the point where it just was very uncomfortable. And this happened numerous times. So anyway, as I seen the man kept pitting everything down the well, then I seen behind him, there was like all of these satanic symbols and stuff like that. And there was these little shadow figures behind him, like peep by, and he was casting them out, like he was like doing that. And then he like went up in the air, and they was kind of like just like leaving the body. And then after that, they was leaving the temple and stuff like that. That's basically what it looked like, just to get pitted to you like that, and stuff like that. And so, after that, it showed this wall. It was like like I said, the wall, it had like the 2 lamps on the wall, fiery lamps. And then it showed, it was like a steel plate, like it was like a seal. And you seen it kind of being like soldered in or something like that, or somebody's like welding it into the wall, and it was like sparks. You could see the sparks, and then there was like a seal, and it was placed on the wall. And that was, that. And then I woke up out of it. So the following day was the Shabbat. It was a Saturday. And I had a good sleep. That was put like this. That was the last time that I had. I said that sleep was so good that I was drooling, and so that laying on the recliner after after that vision. Because after the vision, I actually got up, went back into the kitchen because I was like amazed. I was like, it was like probably 2 a.m. at the time, and I was like, what the heck was that and stuff like that. And then me being an idiot, I went to the table. I had some pills on the table, crushed like 2 or 3 of them up, sniffed them, went back to the couch, lay down, and I had a good night's sleep, drooled and everything. And that was the last for months, for practically over a year, for just about a year. That was the last of really, I'm telling you, restlessness, horrible, horrible, horrible. Now, you want to talk about the Most High putting terror on you, it was on. I'm talking about fear. I didn't understand where this fear was coming from and stuff like that. So after this, right, me and my ex-girl got into a fight, argument, not a fight, but an argument and stuff, and her daughter left the house. It was a disagreement, whatever, and I was just in the house feeling really funny. And then the following day was Sunday. Now, out of nowhere, we angry with each other for a while, and like I said, there's been a lot of weird stuff going on spiritually and stuff like that. I'm gonna, and so she ends up straightening up the room, cleaning up the bed and everything in the bedroom. I haven't slept in that room in like over 2 months, and out of nowhere, she just got it in her mind to go in the room, clean up the room, and then she brings me in the room, and whatever happens. And right after everything was done, I heard as she walked away, I heard her say, "I got him." And I was like, why did she say that? And then I'm telling you, from then on, it was on. That the next day, paranoia. I was so afraid that even if I looked out the window and seen a neighbor across the street sitting on his porch, I would be peeking out the window like I didn't want him to see me. I was scared and stuff like that. And I started getting this real paranoia feeling within me. And I remember a video came on. The watchman was talking about fasting for 3 days and stuff like that. So I said, I asked the Most High. I was like, please forgive me. I'm gonna fast for 3 days. Give me a few days, because I still want to get off these drugs and stuff like that. So mind you, I'm gonna just let y'all know this right now off the bat. The vision, I got healed already. I didn't know it yet. I already been, the Most High healed me and stuff like that. When through that vision was showing me that I was being healed from all of my sicknesses. At the time, I didn't still know yet. I was very much a babe, just to let you guys know. I was still a drug dealer at this time. So, and I'm still laying with a Gentile who is, is like 1 minute she says she believes in God, the next minute she just wants to live in the, the world and stuff like that. So, I said I was going to start fasting that, I think probably later on that week. And I was going to just basically go cold turkey again. I've done cold turkey a number of times. Horrible, horrible experience. People think that it's easy to get off of dope. No, it's not. I'm talking about, maybe my tolerance was just too high, but I'm talking about 6, 7, 8 days, nothing, nothing. Just, it's like being in the flu times 10, fetal position. You can't sleep. You're on the floor. You diarrhea, throwing up, everything. So, she had an appointment the same day I actually wanted to fast, and I forgot that I was supposed to fast, because I remember actually praying and saying, Father, I'm going to fast, like, forgive me and stuff like that. So this Thursday came, I think it was Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, and it was in July, the middle of July, 2016, and so she was going to a doctor's appointment and asked me to come with her, so I was getting dressed, forgetting that I was actually planning on fasting. So what happened was, when she was in the living room, this is noontime, sunny, middle of the summer, 2016. I'm walking in the bedroom, and out of nowhere, I go into a straight trance on my feet. I lose total control of my body, and I walk toward the window and look at the sun. So when I go to the window, I look at the sun. I see a man on top of like a stake, with his head tilted down. Like he's like, you could say it wasn't a cross, but it was like a stake, but and he was like, you could see his arms kind of like that, and he's burning on fire. You see the fire before him, and he's burning and stuff like that. and I can smell it. And it was only for like maybe a few seconds, not even that long, 5-10 seconds. But I seen the fire, I seen the body of the person burning on fire, and behind him, he was like in a place. It was pretty dark, but you could kind of see the walls look a little bricky a little bit too. And then after that, I kind of like, it's almost like I didn't pay no mind for a minute. I went, me and her jumped in the car and went to the appointment. I kind of had my regular routine day, made drug sales, all of that. But then when I got back to the house later on, I started to reflect on it, like, yo, what the heck was that? And why am I smelling this? And I'm smelling death. I'm thinking there's something wrong with my nose. I'm going to the bathroom, cleaning my nose out every day. I'm talking. I'm going to the store. I'm so paranoid of the smell that I'm thinking people think it's me. Like I'm looking like I'm seeing people talking, and I'm thinking people are talking about me because I'm thinking they're saying stuff like, oh, why that guy smells like that, whatever, and stuff like that. Now, one thing I didn't miss when I was talking about back in early April when the devil was attacking me and trying to make me go crazy. The coolest thing was, I was actually talking junk to the devil. I was keep on saying, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. And I heard a spirit. The spirit came to my ear. And I heard it. I believe it was the Ruach. Because while the devil was jumping around saying, googly goo, googly goo. And I say devil because it was the symbol, the horns and the red face and everything like that. And the spirit came to me and said, do not provoke him. That clear. That's why I can remember it so well. And I've heard the voice a number of times. I remember one time I was at work. This is a whole nother, I ain't gonna get into that later on. But it was something that happened at the workplace. And I remember I jumped because I was like, what the heck? And it was very audible, like very, very clear. And I was like, whoa. Like, but anyway, but I heard, do not provoke him. And me, I ended up saying stuff like, oh, I'm gonna beat you, I'm gonna defeat you. And like I said, he turned it up, and that's what made me go to the hospital for those 4 days. But anyway, let's jump back to after the man on fire. So that week, I'm smelling death. I got so paranoid that I went to a Israelite camp in Brooklyn, and but I went there, listened to them all day, and I was so paranoid. I was keep on thinking that I was Ahab. I was keep on feeling like I was Ahab, and I guess I was thinking the girl was Jezebel and stuff like that. And they was teaching on Ahab, funny thing, and I was keep on being paranoid. And I remember I told one of the brothers in there, I said, yo, I said, I feel like, he was like, man, don't worry. He said, a lot of people be thinking that it's talking to them and stuff like that. And the funny thing is I spoke about the Messiah, and then these people said to me, oh, we don't believe in the Messiah here. They was basically straight up Torah keepers, straight up first 5 books, that's it. They're not dealing with nothing else and stuff like that. So I was in there like, I spent the whole day in there. I was in there for like 4 or 5 hours. And ate fish in there and everything like that. And then I'm talking to the dude and I'm telling him about Hamashiach, and he's like, oh, we don't believe in that. We're not into, we just do Old Testament. Tanakh, Torah and stuff like that. So, I was like, all right, whatever. And then I left. And so I'm going through this whole week, no sleep, no nothing. I go to the house. My ex is in there watching all these horror movies like she normally do. She got something with the dog and demon on TV. This woman chasing people down the forests with horns on, and it just was ridiculous. And then so then my mom's called me. She's like, yo, she asked me to take her upstate to go visit her family and stuff like that, her brother and some other family members. So we rent a car from someplace, and we take a ride up upstate New York, where my mother was born at and stuff. My mother always told me that upstate there was a lot of witchcraft going on up there. She said people used to go to the mountains and worship different things. She didn't do it. She was a Christian, but how my mother got introduced, long story, with that whole Santeria stuff was through my father. He used to practice it for a period of time and stuff like that, and my mother kind of did some stuff with it, which she shouldn't have did. She regretted it, repented of it. She baptized herself before she passed away. Long story. Anyway, we get into that, So then, I know I'm jumping around, but so we go upstate New York, and I'm telling you, my mother was here today to tell you how the ride is only about an hour and a half ride. It took us like 8 hours to get there. That's how much confusion the devil was putting on my mind. I was hearing those bells again. Ding, ding. I couldn't even drive straight. My mother was like, what is wrong with you? We had to pull over, go get something to eat. And the funny thing is, I remember I was driving on the expressway, and a truck pulls up, right? And it's funny how the truck just goes right in front of me. And when the truck goes in front of me, you just see the number 666 and stuff like that. Now I know it's like, okay, I already told you guys about the clock. I don't think, about every time I looked at the clock. I hope I mentioned that part because I just had to re-edit this part. How I was able to, how I was seeing the 36 on the clock for months and stuff like that. So it really was following me. I believe that it was just the spirit, because some people say in the C4 it doesn't say 666. I understand that, but when I see with the spirit, and when it comes down to this particular affliction and punishment, they know what they're gonna do to attract your attention and to get you wherever. If it's going to put fear in you from being a sinner or whatever. The Most High said he'll put fear on you. He'll put this on you. He put madness on you. We know that in Deuteronomy 28. He talks about all the different types of. We know Elohim is the Elohim of the spirits in general. So whatever spirit is going to come down and do whatever he's going to do. If it's a spirit of deception, if it's a spirit of confusion, whatever it's going to be what it's going to be and stuff like that. So, take it or leave it. I know what I've experienced and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Because I just know, some people going to be, you got skeptics and people just going to be like, whatever. But anyhow, so the point is, I got another situation with a phone call. Anyway, some things I missed. But anyway, so we go upstate. And we're up there for probably a weekend, 3-4 days. And I can't sleep still, but my mother had some Xanax, so I took some Xanax. It kind of helped me out a little bit and stuff like that, whatever. But what happened was, and again, what happened was, when I was upstate, it's funny how my ex, she Facebooks me a picture. And the picture was a zombie of her. Like, it was her face, but it looked like a zombie. I'm talking about, like, straight up. Even my mother seen it. When my mom seen it, she was like, oh, my mother jumped. And it scared the mess out of me, too. And I'm like, why would she send a picture like that to me of her face, but it's, like, dead? Like The Walking Dead, like a zombie, because she loved the show Walking Dead. It was like a Walking Dead app or something like that. And it was her face, but I guess it changes your face, reconfigurates it to where it can make you look like a zombie and stuff like that. And that's exactly what she sent me. But, all right, so this is stupid. So this is what really happened after that. So then we going back to New York. We get back to the city and stuff from upstate. And, my mom's just like, I went to go pick up my brother because something happened to him, his arm, and he had to go to the hospital, my youngest brother. But he was all right. And then my mother, I dropped her off with my brother, and then I leave with the rental so I could go take it back in a few days. And my mother said to me, she said, yo, do you want to stay over? And stuff like that. And I wanted to say yeah, but I was like, nah, I'm good. So this is when I started, things get, when things start to multiply as far as punishments. Every time I touch this girl, things get worse and worse. I've been with her for 9.5 years. Ever since I got baptized, everything got worse and worse. So, I go to the house, and, it's late night, and, I'm more tormented and scared, but, I'm stiff-necked, you know how that go, sottish, stupid. Her daughter ended up, I ain't getting into that. Anyway, me and her ended up kind of fooling around again, but not like intercourse in a sense, but just fooling around, you know what I'm saying? And, but, like basically touchy stuff. Not to get too graphic. If it is, please edit it. Something strange happened to her that night. I don't really know about it. It's hard to even get into some things because like some things may be too graphic. So the point is, the following day, I was sitting on the couch. Mind you, I still wasn't sleeping. I went to the living room. The TV's off. The cable's right there. I look at the cable box, and I don't know the numbers on the cable box. Now, this is not hallucination. This is what happened. So the numbers jump up. They going all the way up to the high thousands in the cable box, and it goes to a Christian channel. So I cut the TV on because I'm like, yo, what the heck was that? Like it's like the cable box rebooted itself and just started. Brrr. I'm looking at the numbers going up, and then the numbers go to a Christian channel. So it's a white lady, a pastor, or whatever, talking. So the lady's talking, and I'm looking at the TV, and right when she started talking about entering into heaven, I seen a red X come across the screen, a big red X come across the screen. So it scared me because this made me feel like, oh, wow, I'm not going to be able to go to heaven. And then when I got up from the couch to go into the bedroom, I heard in my ear, lust, lust, lust. Just like that. Lust, lust, lust. And then my ears started being pulled, like throbbing. I'm talking about throbbing almost to the way I can feel a vein in my ear, like right here. And it's pulling, like I'm like throbbing, like for about a month and a half, I was getting this throb in my ear, like it makes you, it feels like somebody's pulling it and stuff like that. So I remember it's like and this went off because of I touched her that night and stuff like that. This is probably since I've been baptized from May, June, July. I probably only really touched her probably like 3 times because I was actually trying to stay celibate, not trying to touch her and stuff like that. But I kind of slip up every so often. So probably out of those 2.5 months or whatever, 2 months you could say, probably really touched her maybe like 3 times or stuff like that. And it just started to increase. I just noticed every time I touched her, something worse had happened to me. So then one day I was on my knees praying during the daytime and I closed my eyes. And when I closed my eyes, I seen 2 men. It looked like they was like in a cave a little bit. But one man was wearing like all white, but he was a brother. And the other person, you couldn't see their face. So the other man, it's like they was talking to each other. And then the other man went off into the blue sky. You could see his wings came out and everything like that. And he just went off to the sky. Like, it was a beautiful blue sky. And I remember when my eyes closed on my knees, I was saying, don't go, don't go. And then I seen the other one coming toward me, like dark. He was just dark. And then, so I opened my eyes, that went away. Then I closed my eyes again. And then I seen the 3 alien heads. They was like in the mid, like back, but you could see the heads. It's like they was looking at me, but it was 3 of them, like one in the middle, one right here, looking at me. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I seen it's a bunch of things. It's hard to describe sometimes. I started hearing this wailing, like whistling sound in my ears, like it seemed like, and then I had a vision of somebody standing in the middle of, it seemed like the courtyard, but I think it was that white dude with the smirky face, like, that one that I said I think was the devil in the flesh. And I know it sounds kind of racist, but listen, this dude was like, he just had this negative thing about him and stuff like that. So anyway, this is when things really started to get more intense and stuff like that. So, and the paranoia got ridiculous. And I'm in a room, I'm like really scared. I remember I fasted finally for like maybe 2.5 days. I was trying to do 3, but it was my first time ever even doing that long and stuff like that. And I did 2.5 days. And I remember I started praying a lot and stuff like that. And then, I remember the Watchman had a teaching on that came on, and it was about the and I think Yosef did too, but it was about the old man and the new man, and I didn't really know too much about it, but I was just listening to the teaching and stuff like that, and it was just a lot of stuff going on, even outside. Like it was a whole bunch of lightning bugs behind my window, but when I in the trees, and when I went outside, there was nowhere else on the block. Besides the tree next to my window, because I seen the lights glowing through my room and stuff like that. A lot of it plays with paranoia and stuff like that, all right? So then I was told, I was told, hey, you're still with the Gentile, you need to, you're not right. You need to make moves and stuff like that. So I ended up leaving New York and going down to Atlanta. And when I went down to Atlanta, I stayed with my pops for a little bit, for actually about a year. But when I first got down there, horrible, no sleep, horrible. My ears still being pulled. I'm still hearing this like whistling sound in my ears. But one thing I didn't notice when I went down south was no matter how much drugs I was doing in New York, I started to lose my access to drugs. Because I brought a few down there that lasted me about a week. And then when I ran out, I remember telling my pops, like, yo, I'm going to have to go to the hospital because I'm going to get sick. So he was telling me like, hey, you better go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital. I stayed there overnight. And I'm like, nothing's happening to me. Like, I'm not getting sick or nothing like that. This is weird. They didn't even do nothing. All they did was leave me on the dog on gurney all night. They left me on the gurney all night. Real talk. They didn't do nothing. They just, and normally I would have been sick within like 3 hours or something, like 4 hours, 5 hours. Nothing. So I'm saying to myself, whoa, this is different. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, whoa, 12 hours went by. Nothing. I'm not sick. Nothing. I'm like, I just left the hospital like probably 3, 4 in the morning. I'm like, yo, ain't nothing happening. So when I get back to my pop's house, I'm like, yo, ain't nothing happening. I'm good. Like I said, I'm not. And then a few days go by now. So I'm like, whoa, like 2 days go by. I'm sitting here saying, this ain't never happened to me. I've been on drugs for about 3, 4 years. I got dope sick every time. I'm telling you, I done tried cold turkey, all of that. I've been in detoxes, all of that. I can break down what it's like to be, what the sickness is like. Flu, snot, throw up, diarrhea, headaches, nausea, all of that. I've been through all of that. So this time, nothing's happening to me. So the ex, she's still calling me. At the time, we didn't really break up yet. We still was just separated. I was just down in Atlanta. She was in New York. So I told her what happened. I said, yo, I said, yo, I'm not sick no more, and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, well, whatever, that sounds good, whatever. And she basically was like, yo, she want to come down and stuff like that to visit me and stuff like that. Because I was down there for like, she came down around the 3rd week I was down there. So she came down, and I remember debating within myself, like, yo, am I supposed to have this girl come down? Am I supposed to leave her? Am I supposed to, like, because I'm going to lie, it was kind of hard for me to actually, it's like trying to separate from everything you was used to, because I didn't know what I was, even though I was reading the Bible and I got baptized, I still was in the streets. It sounds ignorant, I know, and that's why y'all said it, so you guys can say whatever you want, but the Most High already said it. Yes, it was very stupid of me, because I still just living a different way and stuff like that. I still I wasn't following none of this in the beginning. I mean, I was in the streets. I just came across the Watchman's teachings and the Boris teachings and Yosef and them, and I liked it, because I started to believe I was an Israelite. And just like many of us, I think this is what the issue is with many of us. We come into this information, because I've met a lot down in Atlanta, a lot of our people. And it's almost like, oh, wow, we're the Israelites. And then it's like, they'll go on with their day, but they kind of have that. So it's almost like, oh, yeah, I'm a child of God. But they still live the same way. Nobody changes. Because I've seen this already. People, they still smoking their weed. They're still sleeping with different people. But they talking about, oh, yeah, I'm an Israelite. Or I'm a Jew. Or I'm this and this. But I think it's only, like, just like me. When I first came to that knowledge, I was thinking, the Most High is going to take care of us because we're his children. Until I come to realize that we were wicked, our forefathers and ancestors was wicked and stuff like that. That's when I started to realize, oh, this is more than just being a child of the Most High. This is a punishment. I didn't see that, that's where it came into. I didn't, so anyway, that took me a little bit. That's where I started to gain a little bit of more understanding when it came down to understanding the punishment. I didn't resent it. Like, I kind of really was like, oh, wow. Like, I mean, I guess I could see it now. Like, now I can understand why the conditions of our people are so messed up. So anyway, the girl, like I said, I know I'm jumping a little bit. The girl comes down, and we get a motel for about 5 days, and you already know I can't sleep, but I'm just still feeding the flesh, just to say that. So I had 2 dreams while I was there. I had a dream. And I know it's like you said, I can't sleep, but it's kind of like sometimes I may get a doze off. The doze off may be 20, 30 minutes, depending on a lot of times it was no sleep, but there was times I could probably get maybe 30, 40 minutes. It was just restlessness. But I guess the point of the vision was to come in just to give me the dream so I can understand the message. So I had one, and I was like in the sky, looking down, and I seen a city. And I was seeing the clouds, then I was seeing through the city, and I heard somebody talking. It was a female. I thought it was my sister at first. And the female said, and nobody's going to speak for you, and stuff like that. And when I woke up out of that, I didn't really understand it at the time, but then I started to think later on, like, I'm thinking maybe during Judgment Day, Yahusha being my advocate, my advisor, my lawyer, to speak for me and to represent me, to be like, for his blood, like, just cleansing me of my sins, because I'm still in a repetitive cycle. I'm still continuing in sin and stuff like that. So then the next day, this is when it gets real. The next day, I had another dream, but this time I was coming down the staircase and I entered into a lobby hallway, and it was like 3 or 4 Italian guys. They all had gold chains, gold rings, gold watches, gold teeth. They was like just blinging, and they gave me a gun. So I left the building and I went in the middle of the street. And when I went into the middle of the street, the police was in the street, and they seen me with a gun. So the cops shot me, bang, and they hit me in my side. I ran and I ran behind like a bus, and I hid the gun under like a bus or something like that, and I ran into a bathroom. And when I went into the bathroom, I looked in the mirror, and I seen myself dying. My face looked really gray and pale, like a zombie. Like basically the image was showing me dying. And then I woke up out of that, and you know, I took her to the bus station. She left, went back to New York, and I started noticing my side was hurting. Now I really had no clue what this meant for a while. I was thinking something was wrong with my kidneys or something like that, or my liver. I don't know. I'm sitting there. I'm like, yo, I'm at my pop's house. I'm like, oh man, I'm getting up. My side is hurting. I'm like, why is my side hurting? Like, oh my goodness, what the heck is wrong with me and stuff like that. And then I had another dream, and it was this TV show I used to watch on Showtime called Shameless. I don't know if any of you guys know about that. And I was keep on showing the girl, Fiona, from the show. And Fiona was kind of like a freak and stuff like that. And her homegirl, the black girl too. But it was saying Shameless, and it was making me feel like I have no like I'm still doing what I'm doing. I've been baptized, I'm in the blood, and I'm still messing around with this Gentile and stuff like that. I'm still sleeping around with her. And so things got worse. I'm talking about confusion. I was my dad thought I was docile to where like he almost thought I had a mental issue. Like he was up there like thinking I had like some type of disease, mental issue type thing. I mean, I'm talking about I was losing keys, everything. I couldn't remember anything. And I started getting these tingles in my leg, like pinches, like pins and needles, and it was just all over the place in my legs and stuff like that. And it was for a while too, for like probably like 3 months and stuff like that. And my ear was still being pulled too. And I was being tormented. And then like sometimes when I close my eyes, I'll see like a pig face looking at me like a demon. Like it'll be like you can see like the whiskers, and you can see the fat nose, and it's smirking at me, but you don't see the eyes. You see like the lower part and stuff like that. Then it was times when I would see females like smirking at me like this. You don't see the eyes. You see like the lower part from the top of the nose down to the jaw, and they smirking and stuff like that. I didn't really know what this was about, so I started making meditation, recording meditation of psalms, like just reading particular psalms. And when I try to lay down at night, I wrap a towel or something around my eyes so my eyes don't open because I can't sleep. So at least I know I make it jet black, and I listen to the psalms, and I just try to like zone out and stuff like that the best way I can and stuff like that. And terrible dreams. I'm talking about everything terrible. Some everything from seeing coming out of apartment complex buildings midnight. You can see like ghost demons shooting up into my face, like up from. I remember opening up a van, and they had all chopped up body parts inside the van and stuff like that with blood everywhere. Excuse me. Wow. It was crazy. It was really crazy. I'm trying to just explain so much. It's really a lot. Then months went by. Oh yeah, eventually I broke up. I had to break up with the girl. I told her, contacted her, and I told her that, we can't do it. Now I didn't, of course it was really hard for me to let go, but because at the time I don't know, I didn't really know where I was going at this point and stuff like that. I didn't know what was going on. So then I'm still being attacked day and night. So I close my eyes at times and you can just see all types of crazy stuff. And anyway, around it's just I'm gonna pass over these months. I go to November. I finally get a job at Clorox. But I'm still going through it. No sleep. What happens is you start feeling numb. I started. I didn't realize what was happening. How I got healed, but how you got healed. How I got healed was I started to go numb. It felt like I was dying inside. Like I didn't have any emotions. I mean, at times, like I said, the paranoia, but I'm talking about like emotions to express. It was really, it's like it felt dead inside. I don't know, empty, and stuff like that, hollow, like. And that's how what I notice now is that feeling prevented me from feeling anything as far as sickness from the drugs, desire for anything. Truth be told, I just smoked the cigarettes just because the habit of my hands, because the cigarettes didn't even taste the same no more. So basically, I was off the drugs already, but I still was smoking a little weed because my dad was smoking weed. I probably would drink some beer when the beer was there, and I'd be smoking cigarettes because it just was, I was so depressed that it was just something to do. So November came. I remember I was leaving the job one day, and I feel like something hit me in my chest, and I almost fainted. I'm talking about, I got dizzy. I was about to fall out in front of the job, but I knew I was like, no, I cannot fall out in front of this job because I don't want none of these people, my coworkers, to come out and see me and be like, oh, we gotta, he's out here laid out on the floor and stuff like that. I didn't want to be embarrassed like that, so I held it down, but it was very, very difficult. I don't fall out. I don't faint. That ain't what I do. This almost knocked me off my feet. So I went to my pop's house after getting off from work, and I laid down on the ground and on the the living room rug and stuff like that. And I closed my eyes, and this was a vision. It was in a dream. I seen this glowing figure, like an angel, like of light. I mean, it could be real talk. And it was like guiding my sight down. I could see the sky at first, but it was guiding my sight down almost into the earth. And when I kind of looked down, it looked like a form of hell. It looked like it was a bunch of people kind of like crushed up together, like they was just all uncomfortable, and they was all like, and you could see like glowing light. Like I don't know if it was fire because I didn't go completely next to them. I was above, but I was like, I can look, if I look straight forward, I see the light of this being because I can still see the figure of the body. I can't see, it doesn't have like a face. It was just glowing, but it had like arms, legs, and it was like guiding my sight downward. So when I looked down, I could see people, like they just looked very uncomfortable, and then that was it. So it kind of gave me the impression like, yeah, this is real, and stuff like that. So I started to make a decision like, okay, I got to stop everything. So I ordered the CFA. The CFA came that December, the first week of December. And I committed to myself. I said, yo, I'm going to stop. I said, I'm going to stop smoking cigarettes. I'm going to stop drinking beer. And I'm going to stop the weed. And that was a good start. Because what I started to notice is, after that, I had a dream. I had one dream of, it was two people running from somebody, and it was 3 vans. I didn't really get it. And then one person went to the middle van. I think it was me, and it was another person, and another person was crying. And then the vision, it just switched up. And then it went to a place where it was 3 men sitting down. And one of them was saying stuff like, just wait, let him get it, and then when he get it, he can open up the door for others to get it, and so, or get in, or something like that. That was really it. I can't really remember too much of it. So then the next day I had a dream. I just got the CFA, but I wasn't really reading it yet. I just got the CFA. But the funny thing is, I had a dream, and it did the Reading Rainbow song. It was like, take a look, it's in a book, reading rainbow, reading rainbow, reading rainbow, So then when I woke up out of that vision dream, like I said, I really wasn't still getting sleep, but at times I would probably drift off, and more like once I left out of New York. New York was more restless and stuff like that. It was restlessness for months. But it was like I, was exhausted, but I still had to go make moves and work and stuff. I still had energy to probably work, but it's like within I was just tired. But it was like wired up at the same time. It was weird. So then I had another like kind of dream the following day with the watchman, and he was pointing at his chest, like next to his heart, and I heard him say read and stuff like that. And then so I just continued to read. So from there, I started from Genesis. I went through all of the books, first 5 books. Went through Jubilees. Now in January, when I was reading Jubilees, I finished Jubilees. I was still uncomfortable. I was still being tormented. But I was curious to know, who is this Prince Mastema in the book of Jubilees? So I started looking it up, Google and everything like that. And I ran into the fragments of one of the missing books and stuff like that. And it basically was saying how Prince Mastema is kind of like a form of Satan, or like an angel of punishment and stuff like that. But what caught my attention was it said, but this particular angel has to leave when a person truly repents and stuff like that. So I was like, whoa, that's interesting. So now I'm like, I'm still feeling uncomfortable. I'm still not sleeping properly. I'm still miserable. I mean, I can't even eat food and feel happy. I can't even laugh at jokes. So I said to myself, this is late January. I'm like, all right, I'm going to commit to a major fast now. I'm just going to fast all the way to the Passover, which was in March, that following 2017. So from late January, February-ish, all the way, I just started fasting. And then when I started to fast, even sometimes if I messed up and broke it, I would just jump right back into it and stuff like that. How I started my fast, I had some hyssop. I took some hyssop, I boiled it, and then I drank the hyssop. I drank the leaves of the hyssop. I ate the leaves of the hyssop, chewed them up, swallowed everything. My legs broke out for like an hour and stuff like that. When my legs broke out for an hour, then it kind of like got regular again. Then I just started to fast. What was deep was a few days later, I remember I went into the kitchen of my dad's kitchen, and I was sitting at a table reading a sefer. And I was reading Psalms 91. And I was seeing how the Most High talks about he'll protect you under the shadow of his wings and everything. And I'm not going to front, I started crying. And when I started crying was the first time this glowing, this it's still with me right now. It's been with me for the past 3 years. This it's like a spirit. Now I believe it's the outpouring spirit, because it could get real strong, or sometimes it could get light. It depends and stuff like that. And when I was not crying hard, but shed a couple tears and stuff like that, because my dad was there, not with me. He was like in the bathroom and stuff. I didn't want him to see me. But this thing came around my head, and it was like woo, 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 woo. Like it follows me. Like if I move like this, it'll come. If I move this way, it'll come this way. If I make my prayer, it'll come. Even if I go in the room right now, it's my prayer rug. It's there. It's here right now, but it's light. When I go into the room, it's like once I step on the rug, it's like you can feel it from the bottom of your feet and stuff like that. And so I'm like, what the heck is this? And then my face broke out of nowhere. My head right here on my forehead, it got really fat. Real talk, it got fat, like it got swollen until like right here to my nose got swollen, and right here my right hand too. It got really swollen and fat. And my dad was coming out the bathroom, so I didn't want him to see me. So I went down to the living room and laid down, because I went to go cover my face, because I didn't want him to be like, yo, what happened to your face? And stuff like that. And I didn't know, but I knew things were spiritual already. Everything was spiritual, because one time, me and my dad was talking about our old life, we was reminiscing about the past, and I was talking about how much money I used to make in the streets. And out of nowhere, a knot came behind my head. I was talking to him, and I was like, what the? And I felt the back of my head, and there was a big knot behind my head. And I was like, whoa, like, what the heck is that? And now as I read certain books, like the Shepherd of Hermes, or even when you go into the book of Exodus, I forgot what chapter it is, 20-something, I think it was, or maybe even the 30s, when the Most High talks about the angel that's with you. But, I learned that, I know, now I've experienced enough already. I'm going to get into all of that too. But when you do certain things, how you get chastised and stuff like that. So, I got that knot in the back of the head. But anyway, so this day, when that thing came around my head, the spirit came around my head, everything swelled up. But it went away within minutes, like probably within like 5-10 minutes. Everything went down. My hand went down, my forehead went down, and that was that. So then I started to fast, and I just started to fast and started to fast. I mean, I was going to work. You know, sometimes if I did get weak, I probably drink a little bit of water, and then I'll just continue to fast, continue to fast. Then when I break the fast, I'll go get some fruits and stuff like that, vegetables. Then I go right back into it. 3 days fast, go finish it. Go back 5 days fast, finish it. 6 days fast, finish it. If I messed up on one of them, I'll start it over again. 7 days. I went from being over 200 pounds, I was probably like 220, to my lowest weight in years, 164, straight up and down. I was donating blood, so all of that is on record, because every time I used to go donate blood, I used to go donate blood twice a week. They used to weigh me, and you can always on the scale. If I probably get that on the internet and show you, and there'll be my weight. You'll see my weight for the times I was going to the blood bank, the plasma bank. You'll see like my weight would be like just always at 164, probably go to 170, 164, 175, 164. Like it was just, but initially, like I said, I ain't been under 200 pounds in a long time since I was with that girl. I was with her. When I got with her, I was like 185, 190. And then I blew up, and I've been, for that whole probably 8-9 years I was with her, I was over 200 pounds. My highest weight was 250 when I was with her. And so like that. And then I started to lose some weight, but I went down to like 220. And then what I'm trying to say is I fasted that much. And one thing I'll tell you, it was so sweet. Because when March came, I slept like a baby. When the feast of when Passover came by, I remember when I finally was breaking my fast, a 7-day fast, I went to go get, I was going to, treat myself, go get me some chicken. But I had fruit. I bought a lot of fruit. Pineapple, strawberries, grapes, grapefruit, all of that. Making my own juices, freezing it up, then drinking it down, slushing it. I love it when you break a fast and you just have a mean juice and stuff like that. Mean crushed up juice with fruits and everything. That's how I love to break my fast, with fruit juice and stuff like that. Especially if it's slushy, like you put it in the freezer for a while and stuff like that. So anyway, I ate that. Before, when I was walking there, I seen a vision of a man with dreadlocks, brother. But I can't really see his face too much, but I could tell his brother's skin. That's that. The night that I broke my fast, I heard a whisper, and it said, I think it was the demon, because if you don't get this right, you're gonna die. And so, I didn't really get it, but I was like, oh man. So that Monday came. I was sleeping, put it like this. I finally was able to sleep. I'm talking about, I wasn't sleeping 8 hours. I still don't sleep 8 hours. But I was sleeping probably like about 4 hours, 3 hours, waking up in pieces. But I was feeling good. I'm talking about drool, everything like that. What was the most coolest thing was that Monday. I didn't go to work that Monday. And I had a vision. And when I had this vision of a man fighting like a beast or a dragon. It was a beast, this big head, and it was a man, and he was like hitting it. I don't know what he was doing. Then the vision changed, and then I seen the 2 pillars again, and I seen a throne, and I seen a man sitting on the throne with his legs crossed. He looked cool. He had an afro. He just had a beard. He just looked cool. He was a brother. He was just sitting there, like he was just chilling. Like he was like just like that. I don't, And when I seen that, I was like, whoa, and stuff like that. Then I woke, I opened my eyes. That was that. Then a few days later, I started, and I noticed this before. I used to, but I started seeing an eye. Like I can close I still get it now sometimes. I close my eyes, and there's an eye looking at me. Sometimes it's just like it moves, just like moving around. But it's like, sometimes it winks, sometimes, but it's an eye looking at me. And then one time, it was 2 eyes looking at me. And what happened was a chessboard came out of nowhere. I'm not sleeping. I'm up. I'm laying down because I was meditating and stuff like that. Matter of fact, yeah. So a lot of times I was like laying there just with headphones on, just trying to with my eyes in the darkness. And I seen the eyes looking at me. And then a chessboard came. And when the chessboard came, it was a chess piece. I can't remember what piece it was. It might have been a rook and stuff like that. I can't remember what piece it was. But it wanted me to take out, you can see the eyes looking at me. It was dark, but then you can see the eyes looking at me, and you can see the chessboard with the checkered pieces, the black and white, chessboard. But there's one piece, my piece, and then there's another piece, and it's like basically I have to make the decision on what I'm going to do. Now, but I had to do it with my mind. So while I'm looking at it with my eyes closed, I make the wrong move. Why? I don't even know. But I know how to play chess. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I know how to play, I know how to move the pieces. I've played it. Whatever. I learned to play chess years ago. So, I made the wrong move. And I seen the eyes get angry. Like almost like, what are you, stupid? Like, what kind of move was that? And then I don't know what, an angel jumped out of the back onto the chessboard. Now the body is like glowing and stuff like that. It is, and it goes and it moves the piece, and then it actually corrects the move and actually attacks the other piece. It's almost like he was showing me the move I was supposed to make. And then out of nowhere, I don't know nothing. The only thing I get into my mind was the thought of universal laws. It's like it was given to me. I didn't even come up with this. It was just like, I believe the angel picked that in my mind. So right when I got up, I looked up universal laws and I started learning about mutable laws and mutable and immutable laws, and which ones are like etched in stone and which ones that can be kind of like you can move them around a little bit and stuff like that. You could the universal laws. So I still got it in my computer right now and stuff like that. I have a whole, I got videos playing right now. But anyway, so then I'm reading the universal laws, and I'm like, whoa, like this is kind of like, when I actually analyze some of it, it really is biblical, because you can see how it's like certain things that's telling you how it's like how you can defy certain. For instance, you got the laws of people say the laws of gravity and stuff, but then you can see how Yahushua was able to walk on the water, because he that would be him messing with the universal law. Like when you believe and you have enough faith, it's like with most people you're gonna sink. But with him, it's like, no, he was able to walk. And so that was the law where you can actually move it. You just got to know how to learn how to use these laws and stuff like that. These are laws that's, and then you have some laws that are just, is what it is. Just like the law that says Yahuwah can't lie. Like, that's it. That's it. Like, it's impossible and stuff like that. But then you got some laws that actually could be moved. They can be bended a little bit, I should say. So I started learning stuff about that. I'm still learning. I'm a babe still, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I understand all of that. I mean, like I got it, because if that's the case, I'll be doing that right now and stuff like that. But one thing I do know is that I've been healed and stuff like that from all my TB is gone. My high blood pressure. When I didn't have my medication, my heart would jump and stuff like that, and I had to go get my medication. If I didn't have my medication in 2-3 days, my heart is racing. Gone, easy. Medication, I don't take no medicine. 3 years, nothing. If anything comes to me and stuff like that, I've done stepped on nails, rusty nails twice, bloody. I'm not going to the hospital and stuff like that. I've done anything. Even if I get like a little sore throat or something like that, I make my communion. I get my wine, I get my bread, I break it, bless it. I listen to meditation about healing. I think about healing. I recite in my mind over and over, Yahushua, by Yahushua's blood I am cleansed, by Yahushua's stripes I'm healed, and all of that, all of that. And it's just the faith that I gotta work. I just continue to pray to the Most High, like help my unbelief. If I do believe, but help my unbelief in anywhere that I'm weak at. And so my focus right now in my life is just to be focused on Yah and what I know that Yahushua said we can do, Yah willing, and stuff like that. So I kind of focus my mind on that. So, like I said, anything that happens to me, even when I was with my boss, he was like, yo, you got to go to get medical to sign up because you're working for me and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, listen, man, I'm not signing up for no doctors. I'm not taking no medicine. I'm not doing none of that. If anything, if I need to, I'll, do some herbal stuff or, get some garlic and crush it up and drink it in a I'm not in a boil of garlic and drink it in water. And if but I don't know. Anything that comes, headaches, anything, I just let it, I deal with it and stuff like that. If I get like a little, about a month in October, I had a mean sickness that fell on me for like maybe that whole 24 hours. Headaches, sore throat, everything. I just continue to meditate on the ground, recite in my mind, by Yahushua's stripes I'm cleansed, by Yahushua's blood I am healed. I drank water, and I just prayed and stuff like that, and it went away and stuff like that. I'm not taking no medicine. Like, that's not my thing and stuff. Because I've already been healed. The Most High already proved that to me, stuff like that. He already gave me that measure of faith. So I don't need to do that and stuff like that. Now I have to be elevated to another level, Yah willing, and stuff like that. Have I been through a lot more stuff? Yeah. It's hard to me to put everything in this video because a lot of things is visual And it's like sometimes I don't even know how to put it in words because I got a lot of stuff I can actually talk about. But I've seen beautiful things. I've seen above the clouds, people in all white. I've seen, another time I was in the woods. I was fasting. I was fasting in the woods for like 7 days. I bought a tent and everything like that. I was in the woods. And I remember my eyes was closed. This happened to me twice, and it looked like somebody was standing over me with light, like their body was in light, and they was standing over me, looking at me when my eyes was closed. But anyway, that was another time. Anyway, so I was this time I was meditating, and I seen like myself floating. Not my body, but my vision was like I'm just traveling through somewhere, and it looked like hell. I seen skeleton bones on the floor. It was all like skulls and all types of bones on the floor. It was dark. It was like in a cavey type look. And then there was like a body of a man, body glowing. It wasn't. You can see the skin. You can see the flesh. It's like the soul or something like that, or the spirit. But you can see it glowing. And then he's like on a wall, and he's being crushed by this big, huge rock. Like somebody's just throwing it back and forth at him. And his body is like not. It's not changing. It's almost like this person's just being tormented. This person's just being crushed. And then I actually started seeing myself seeing that, and then I started leaving out the vision. You can tell like it's like a cavey type thing because it's like I'm looking for a way out. And then next you know, whoop, I came out and I see the green grass. I see a road. I think I even seen a car go by and stuff like that. And it was beautiful skies and everything like that. I think it was one time I actually seen the exit of hell because I remember one time it was like on the side of a cave or something like that, and it actually said hell on the top of it too. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I know this is not as organized, it's like 4 a.m. right now, and I'm trying to really just put this together the best way I can from my memory. As far as chastisement, I remember one time I was very disappointed about not being able to cash a check, so I ended up buying me some wine at the store. But normally when I drink wine, I would make communion and stuff like that. Like, I make my flatbread, I get the wine out, and I bless it. I make my prayer first and everything like that. And then I break the bread and drink the wine, and, I dedicate it to the Most High, stuff like that. But this time I didn't do that. I was so angry, I just started drinking the wine regularly and stuff like that. So I went to sleep, and I woke up the next day, and my lip was fat, and my arm had a big knot on it. And I knew off the bat, I was wondering, because I know, like I said, there's nothing wrong with me. I ain't sick. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I've been healed already. Ain't nothing wrong with me. So it wasn't no cold sore or nothing like that. I had a big knot. Like basically like the angel popped me in my mouth like, bow! Like hit me with a doggone staff or something like that. And then hit me in my arm or something like that. Because it went away like within like an hour and stuff like that. And I knew that. I was like, oh, I messed up. I drank the wine and I didn't bless it. And stuff like that. I didn't do that. Wow. And stuff like that. I've had a lot of horrible things. I'm not trying to hype myself up, but there's some things that I question. I could say this much. Back in 2004, I forgot to mention this. I was hanging out with some of my friends smoking weed, and I had this vision. This is before I even knew about the Israelites. This is how far back this is, because like I told you guys, I've been having these things happen to me my whole life. So anyway, I was laying on my friend's bed because I was high off of smoking weed, and I started having this vision of 3 fireballs. They was all separate, but it was 3 fireballs. And it made me think of 3 people that I know. 3 people that I know personally. 2004. Now, what I could say about those 3 people so far, one of the persons got murdered. The other person got stabbed in the stomach. They still alive. But they be having demonic attacks. They told me they had demonic attacks. I was trying to express to him this dream, but I don't know how to say it to this person. This person's actually like a man. He's mixed. This person's part Latino and part black. Not saying that, the point is, I want to try to tell, anyway, one person got murdered, and they all related. Let's just say that. These 3 people are related. One person got murdered, one person got stabbed, and the other person ended up going to jail for 40 years for killing his baby mother or his girlfriend and trying to drag her body into the woods and stuff like that. So that's the 3. And mind you, this when I had this when I had the vision of the three fireballs and thinking of them, there was nothing wrong with them. All three of them was like in the world. They was living. So now when I think about things now today, I'm saying to myself, wow, it was weird because I was thinking about them when I thought about those three fireballs, and I see one of them is dead, one of them been stabbed, and the other one's in jail for 40 years for killing his girlfriend and stuff. Then I had another one in 2017. I had a dream of my ex crying, and then one of our friends got killed in the streets. I thought it was one of my other friends, so I woke up out of the dream, I was crying. I not crying, but shedding tears because I felt bad. I was like, oh man, what does that mean? But like about a month and a half later, one of my boys died, and that was his ex-girl that was crying in my dream and stuff like that. So I don't know and stuff like that. And I still question certain things about my mother's passing. This is the reason why, I'm not going to get into that too much, but this thing is real and stuff. And I know many of us do go through this, but a lot of us, I notice a lot of Israelites don't. I've met a lot of Israelites. I talked to them about the spirituals because I thought we all kind of was going through this. And I've been talking to some brothers, and the only thing they always want to say to me is the devil, and stuff like that. I'm like, dang, so I guess the Most High just don't get no praise and stuff like that. It's like, don't get a choice. The enemy was there. The enemy was been involved and stuff like that. But the Most High showed me that He's real and stuff like that. Because I've seen some beautiful things too and stuff like that. It's just so much to get into. It's really deep. The point is this: things got worse once I got baptized. Truth be told, this goes all the way back when I first got with the girl, back in 2007 and stuff like that. When I told you about me being tugged in my spirit and stuff like that, and then all of the bad stuff I've been through with the drugs and all of that with her. But one thing for sure, when I separated from her. When I separated from the lifestyle, the drugs, and when I repented and fast, everything got better. As of today, I still have visions and dreams. I have all types of. I've had demon, and I've been fighting back and stuff like that. I've been fighting back. I've had not only visions and dreams. I've laid on the couches and seen being choked in my sleep, waking up jumping out of the bed like somebody was trying to choke me in my sleep. I had a vision where somebody came and sat next to me on the couch. And so, and the body was like a shadow and stuff like that. And I had a whole bunch of stuff. There's another one. One time, like I said, when me and my ex broke up, but we still was kind of communicating, I asked her to send me some pills. I was already healed. I already knew I was clean from the drugs. This is still 2016. This is, I was still hard-headed at this time. I didn't fully repent yet. So she sent me some Xanax in the mail. I sniffed the Xanax and I went to sleep on the Xanax, and when I woke up, I was laying on my back, and I felt a big hand, go around my whole entire mid-waist and like my body, like it was a huge hand, like the hand was like it was like a giant hand, and I didn't see it, but I felt it. You could feel the imprints on my body. I felt like, and it's almost like it was trying to tug me down. But what it was doing was because I did the drugs again. Because mind you, I was already clean. I was clean for like 2-3 months, and then I told her to send me some pills in the mail in like October and stuff like that, just because. I don't know, I was getting hard-headed. Probably was drinking a beer or something like that. So then, like I said, I was off these drugs already. So she sent me some Xanax in the mail, and I did the Xanax, and then the next day I was laying on the floor, and I felt like this is my body, and then I felt like a hand, and it kind of like was pulling down like that, like, you know what I mean, like pulling down and stuff like that. So, like I said, the most what I'm happy about is no matter how crazy people might think I am, I know I've experienced amazing things. Because one thing I do know is that life is not what we think it is. This flat, what we see, I don't care if buildings, houses, jobs, money, cars, sun, moon, and stars. There's something way bigger than this. And reading it is one thing, okay? I'm not knocking, because we read the book and stuff like that. Reading the scriptures is definitely one thing. But experiencing this stuff is something totally different. I'm hearing the voice at times. Right now, I got it right here. It's like, woo, woo. It's real low. I got to go make my prayer right now. I make my prayer normally at 4:45. That's how I get my prayer. I make my prayer every 4:45 every day. The reason why is because when I was sleeping, one time. I seen the numbers flashing before my eyes when I was sleeping. It was saying, it was just like clock numbers. So 4:45. Scriptures. I got scriptures written down in my sefer because numbers flash. Normally when there's like certain books that I'm reading, and then when these numbers flash, I go back to those numbers. It's like it's already in me to know that that's what it's talking about sometimes. So when I go there, and it makes perfect sense. I connect. There's certain scriptures that I have in my sefer that are connected due to the dreams and visions that I've had, to where when I read it, it's like it's communicating to me. It's letting me know this is what it is. And so like I definitely, one of my favorites is I connect Psalms 5 and Psalms 37. You know that I believe that was the message that was sent to me. I got a few other ones, but I'm not gonna get into all of that. But those two was definitely message. Psalms 5 and then Psalms 37 and stuff like that. The knock. I heard the knock 2 times. One time I remember I was laying down. I went to the cool time. My dad kicked me out. My dad kicked me out finally after a year. I needed a place to stay. I remember fasting and praying and telling the Most High. I was yelling. I was like, Father, I need a place to stay. I'm messed up. I ain't got nowhere to stay. I go to my job. I meet this woman from New York that I don't even know. Listen to this. I don't even know this woman. We go to a barbecue one time with the job, a company barbecue. She's telling me how she's renting out a room for college students. I'm like, all right, yeah, you should rent it out to some young females, some young girls, and stuff like that. So then, my dad kicks me out, right? I'm laying in the woods for like probably 3-4 days in the woods, going to work from the woods, washing up in a train station in Atlanta from the woods. So then I'm thinking to myself, I need a place to stay. I start thinking in my mind, let me call so-and-so. So I call so-and-so. I say, yo, so-and-so, you still renting out that room? She's like, yeah, why? I say, yo, so-and-so, I'm in a bad position. I need to rent out a room to stay. Because, I said, just give me a few months or whatever, maybe a month or so, and then let me get myself together. She was like, cool, don't worry about it. Come through, and stuff like that. So I ended up meeting up with her. She let me stay in her apartment, in her house, actually. Nice little, and I had my own bathroom, own bedroom. So we in the kitchen 3 weeks later. We're cooking food, talking and stuff like that. I don't even know. I just met her. She got me in her house. I just met her. I probably knew her. If we want to calculate days, I probably knew her less than 20 days. She got me in her house, right? So we're talking, and I'm like, yo, what part of New York are you from? She's from Harlem. She lived in Taft Projects and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I used to live in the East Side. I used to stay in Jefferson. I used to stay on 112th in 7th. I used to stay on 115th. I talked about being in the Bronx and stuff like that. I told her about my family in Staten Island, living in Staten Island, growing up out there too. So, all New York, whatever. So then I started talking about my mother. I said my mom's is from, my father's from Harlem, from 145th, but my mother from 140, whatever. And my mother's from upstate New York, from Ellenville. So she's like, wow. She said, I don't really know too many people that even know about Ellenville. I was like, oh, wow, you been up there? She's like, yeah, I've been to Ellenville a few times in the summertime. She said, I got a cousin that live up there. And so I'm like, oh, yeah. I said, my mother, her brother, my mother's a foster child, first of all. My mother doesn't, know her real religion, but, she's been adopted, so whatever. So she's like, I'm like, yeah, my mother got a brother. He used to be a sheriff up there. She's like, oh, yeah. She said, I got a cousin that used to be a sheriff up there, too, and stuff like that. Do you see the link? Listen to this. So then I'm like, yeah. My cousin, yeah, his name is Daryl. She said, my mother's brother's name is Daryl or something like that. She said, get out of here. Daryl? I said, yeah. She said, that's my cousin. I was like, yeah. So I told her, she said, what's your mother's name? I told her my mother's name. She said, get out of here. That's my girl. That's my cousin. I haven't seen your mother in 30 years. She said she haven't seen my mother since she was like 1920. My mother, so I'm like, for real, I call my mom. I'm like, yo, Mom, look who I'm with down in Atlanta. I said, I'm with so-and-so. She's like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen her since I was 19 years old. They haven't seen each other for over 30 years. I prayed and fasted to the Most High that I needed a place to stay. Not only did the Most High give me a place to stay, He led me to my mother's long-lost cousin. Not by blood, but, cousin, the point was relative family. You know what I'm saying? This is how real this is. You know what I'm saying? Come on, like, how do you even work that out? And like I said, I already know what I believe. So, I ain't no coincidences with this. So, that happened. I had so many different attacks and it's so many, it's so deep. I don't even know what, I'm trying to just go back into Only thing I know this is meant to be basically about interracial and stuff like that too. A lot of it is about interracial because the situation with me and my ex, like I said, we wasn't meant to be together and stuff like that. And that's what the Most High was showing me in a vision and stuff like that. It was not, we was not meant to be. And it was a lot of weird stuff going on around her. I mean, she told me that she named her daughter after the witch on television, a television show and stuff like that. And she always told me if we ever had another daughter, she would want to name the daughter this particular name. And when I looked up that name, it was connected to another witch. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say too much. That's why I'm not going to put no names out there. But I started to see a lot of funny stuff going on. I know I'm jumping around, people. Please bear with me. I don't know how this is going to get chopped up, but yeah, I may seem a little out there and stuff, but this thing is deep. It's deep. I'm trying to think of some other stuff. I should have wrote everything down properly. It's just so much stuff. It's like I don't even know where to, pinpoint. Like I said, marks on the body. Pinch sometimes. Like if I do something wrong, I'll get a pinch and stuff like that. And I know it's the spirit, it's the angel, because it's how it is done. It happens all the time. Like it depends. Even if it's trying to get my attention for something. Normally, like if it's like something like I'm reaching for something or reading something in scriptures, and it happens, I'm like, okay, I gotta focus on that particular area right there, because then maybe that scripture is telling me something. It's just so many different things. There's so many different things. People, all right, we could go into people. One time, me and my dad, we went to a Muslim shop to go get some oils and stuff like that. So my dad is in there running, he's talking and stuff like that, talking about whatever. So some black brother comes in. He's asking them about a particular fragrance and stuff like that. So I'm standing there. I don't know this guy from Adam. I don't know this dude. My dad is talking to one of the other Muslims. This other brother, he's not a Muslim. He's just like a regular guy because he's not dressed like, He looks me square in my eyes and says, "The trumpet has already blown." And then he says, "This is school. Like, this is school right here." And then he just walks out. He didn't even buy nothing. It's like he came in there, he asked them about a particular fragrance. I don't think they had it. He turns, look at me while they still communicating, so they didn't even recognize what he was doing. It's like he came, he looked dead, he looked square in my eyes, and he said, "The trumpet has already blown. This is school." I'm guessing like what's going on in the world, what I'm going through as far as my experiences and stuff like that. And then he just goes, jumps in his car. I go to the window and look at him, and he just jumps in the car and drives off. That's one. Then I went to McDonald's. This is the last time I was in McDonald's. I haven't had McDonald's in like 3 years. But this last time I'm in McDonald's, I seen two brothers sitting in there, and I was talking to them about the seafood. I just got the seafood. So then we was talking about the Bible and seafood, and I was telling them about a Israelite place I used to go to in Atlanta called NCCI. So I was talking to them, and then one brother was, they was leaving. One brother was leaving. The other one was last. He asked me, "You know what Egypt's name is in Hebrew, I guess?" And I said, "Yeah, Mizraim." And something like that. So he was walking, the other guy was in front, and he turned around and looked at me and said, "How bad do you want it?" And then he just turned around and walked out. And I'm like, who? Like, nobody does that. Like this, he was like a regular person, and then out of nowhere, when he's walking out, he turns around and says, "How bad do you want it?" And then leaves. So I was like, whoa. And then there was another time I was getting on the bus, and some brother came on the bus talking to me. I wasn't bringing up nothing major. He just started talking, and he was like, "Don't worry about it." He said, "Other people, they're gonna get it in their own time. Just don't basically telling me, I guess, don't force too much, and people are gonna get it on their own time, and they're gonna and it's just weird conversations that pop up." And then I go back to Book of Hebrews when it says angels unaware and stuff like that. Like, be careful how you deal with strangers, because it may be strange angels unaware. And now I'm like, this is deep, because now it's like little messages and stuff like that be through people. And then sometimes it's like how people will just come up and ask you for money sometimes. And you could tell sometimes it could be like a regular homeless person or a person that got drug addiction. But sometimes you can tell like it looks like it's a test or to see if you're gonna do it. It's just how it's done. And so, you do a little donation here, there, and stuff like that, give them some. Or normally, I try to take somebody into a store. If they're hungry, go take them to get a burger or something like that. But it was funny how I had two people, a black woman and a white guy, and I quit smoking cigarettes. So the white guy walks up to me and says, "You got a cigarette? You got a light?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't smoke no more." And then he walks away, and then the lady comes and asks me something. I can't remember, but it just seemed like they almost was like working together. But it was kind of like it's just the way that they came to me, almost like magnetic and stuff like that. It's hard to explain. It's almost like the more you start to see it, like with your eyes, you just start to recognize things. Even with birds, like I told you about the birds, about the red bird. I remember it was a time when I seen these two birds wrestling, like conflicting with each other, and it was a red bird and a blue bird. And oh man, and it was like outside standing like a standoff, and it kind of looked like it was something I was supposed to do. And I remember one of my homegirls, she Facebooked me, and when she Facebooked me, she had a picture, and her picture said hope, because I was losing hope at that time too. Yeah, because I remember I was, oh man, in the beginning when I left New York and I was in Atlanta for the first like 3 months, I was about to give up. I ain't gonna front. Like it was so intense. I was feeling like I was going crazy. I was thinking that I was damned. I was thinking like, I know I'm not, but I was thinking, I was like, I might as well just live worldly. I'm like, what else is, I might as well, because it's like, what else is it? Like, I'm already going, because at the time I didn't really understand what was going on with me. I'm thinking I'm just being punished. I'm not punished, like I'm just done. I'm thinking that I lost my soul and stuff. I'm being tormented. This, like, I'm telling you, what I'm saying is not even, it doesn't even express the words that what you go through and so like that, physically, spiritually, mentally. You can't even, it's like, it's hard to put it in words and stuff like that. And anyway, I started noticing when things, after the red bird left, when the blue bird was there, then when things started getting good for me, the blue bird would pop up a lot and stuff. Like I said, it was one cool time. I was at my boss's house in Georgia, and I went to go, urinate behind a tree, and I was feeling down for that day. I was just feeling a little sad or something, and I see a blue bird come, and the blue bird does one swoop, it goes up, it does another swoop, it goes up, and then it does another swoop, and then it goes mid-air, turns and looks me square in my eyes, flapping his wings like that. And it brought a lot of joy to me, and I was thankful. I was like, oh, wow. And I know that those Yah's doing. He was basically trying to lighten up my spirit and stuff like that. But then there was another time that was funny when I remember I broke my fast. I said I was going to do my fast, and I broke it, and I was walking, and the bird flew past and doodled on my head and on my shoulders and stuff like that. Because I guess it was like, what are you doing? Come on, you're supposed to be doing your fast. And I don't know what a bird flies over me and doodles on me and stuff like that. And then that same night, I stepped on a doggone nail, and my foot was all swollen and hurting for like 6 months and stuff like that. But I would not go to the hospital, and it's gone now. It's good and stuff like that. I stepped on a nail worse than that after that, probably like a year later, and that one healed up faster than that. That healed up like within the first few days. The first time I stepped on a nail, my foot was swollen for like freaking and hurting me for 6 months. I mean, for real and stuff like that. I was not going to the hospital. In my mind, I was thinking like, damn man, you might have technic or whatever. You might be sick and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not going because the Most High already healed me. I'm not going. And as of today, I'm healed. There ain't nothing wrong with me and stuff like that. My dreams is getting more clearer. I'm learning about. I'm trying to understand. The enemy attacks still. All types of dreams and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into the details of all of that, but I still go through things, and this is my life. This is it. The spirit is with me, so it's like this is a spiritual walk, basically. I don't know why other people's situations is different, but only thing I could think of is like that brother told me in the bus, people gonna get it at their own time. But one thing I can say to you Israelites, you Hebrew Israelites, with the suits on in the middle of the street yelling at people, this is way deeper than just books. And I'm gonna tell you, when the Watchmen of Deborah are telling you about dreams and visions and healing, this is real. It starts with faith and belief, and is just a certain thing in you. I mean, I don't know. I go back to the scripture right here. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of Yahuwah. I mean, only thing I could do is be thankful that the Most High has allowed me to experience this. Because I could sit back and say, well, I mean, I know I'm not worthy. I was wicked. I mean, I did a lot of bad stuff. I don't even got to get into all of that. I mean, I did, I just did crimes, and I hurt people and stuff like that. And I just pray that I just sold a lot of drugs, and I got a lot, I know I affected a lot of homes and stuff like that. I affected a lot of people and stuff like that. I neglected my own family and stuff like that, my own household. I wasn't there for my brothers when they needed a role model and stuff like that. I wasn't there for my sister. I wasn't there for my mother when my mother needed me and stuff like that. You know, but the Most High has been merciful. He showed me that He's real. Like I said, I've been healed on a numerous, I just, that's just what it is. I've been healed from drug addiction. I didn't have to go to no clinic. I didn't have to go to no 9-step program, 12-step program or whatever. I got healed from. I wasn't on one. I was on heroin. I was on Oxy 30s. I was on Oxy 10s, 5s. I was on Percocets. I was on Xanax. I was on 2 packs a day cigarette habit. A stronghold. I know people that cannot get off of none of that on their own. Nobody can. I know people that try to say they go to jail and they clean. No, they not, because they be coming home and still be on them drugs. Everything is going for me. I haven't had none of that stuff in 3 years and stuff like that. And I was trying to get off of it before. If you don't understand what it is, go watch the movie Rebound with Don Cheadle, or watch the movie with my man, the white boy that used to Leonardo DiCaprio, that movie when he was Basketball Diaries, when he was on dope. Look how real that is. People be ready to sell their bodies for that stuff. I've seen people be willing to give it all up for that and stuff like that. It was a monster. Have I seen devil spirits? Yes. Demons? Yes. I've seen demons on numerous occasions. Stuff like that. And I've seen good things. One of the coolest things I've seen was, I believe an angel in armor flying in the blue skies. And his wings just popped open like that. And he just landed on the floor real strong. And I had to go and do something. I ain't going to get into the whole details of it. But then when I returned back from my mission, I gave him what he wanted. And he just flew off. He went in the end. And I ended up going into a temple or like a castle or building. Listen, all of this stuff is visions and dreams. And I'm not saying I don't know. That's why my teachers, I do believe that the Most High led me to the Watchman of Deborah. I do listen to other people. I listen to Open Diary because she talks about the same thing about dreams and visions. And I listen to some Christian. I listen to L.A. Ewan at times because he talks about dreams and visions and stuff like that. But I listen to the Watchman of Deborah because they're the ones who baptized me. And they also teach on the same things that I can relate with. Now, I can see that all of us go through different things. The Watchman, he talks about his healing. Deborah talks about her healing. I heard him talk about stories about their children being healed. And I've been healed and stuff like that. And I believe that totally. And I believe greater works can we do in due season and stuff like that. When the Most High's ready to pour it all out on his children, it's going to go down out here for real, for real. So, I don't know if this is just my testimony. Maybe after recording this, I probably might take it light on all of the stuff I be doing on YouTube, because I know sometimes I be typing up my whole dog and life story, because I just be trying to give a testimony. But this thing is real. Like this I'm talking about. I had I was saying like about the knocking on the door. I heard the knock, and then I heard Cairo. Oh, my name, Cairo. And I was like, whoa, what the? I heard that. That's one time. Then I heard another time the knocking and stuff like that. And then I heard the same thing. And I've had a lot of other things happen. It's just hard to really just pay into, I've even seen, I ain't going to get into all of it. Some things because some things are kind of personal. I don't really want to get into it because I don't, but whoever this, is going to, if this is going to be just personal, or if it's going to be going out there, but, if it's going to be, for other people to see. But, it's been a roller coaster ride, up and down, up and down, up and down. Another thing, this was deep. I went to a check cashing place, and when I went to this check cashing place, it was these two homeless people was kind of like almost about to get into a fist fight outside. So when I came out the check cashing place, I went to go give one of the homeless guys $5 to tell him like, chill, break it up, chill. He grabs my hand, and he looks me straight in my eyes and said, the demons got me, and stuff like that. And then when he let me go, I felt like, whoa, like what the heck? I just gave him the money. He just he's in the midst of fighting with his man, with this other guy, and he turns around and looks me in my face and says, the demons got me. I don't know, I don't know what to do. And he grabs my hand, and he lets my hand go, and I kind of went behind a building, and I kind of like made a prayer out loud, yelling, and I kind of, shed some tears and stuff, because it's like, At the time, I don't really know what to do. I still don't, I'm just still, like I tell you guys, I'm only 3 years into this walk. But I've been in the streets since I was like 15, 14, 15, 16, and stuff like that. I got baptized at 33. All of this stuff started happening to me at age 33. I'm 36 now. So, it's a lot of stuff, man. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I'm probably missing too that I can't even think of right now. But this is just my spiritual journey and my my physical journey as far as traveling. I've been all up to Florida over the past 3 years, staying in Florida staying all over Atlanta, South Side Atlanta, East Side Atlanta, Midtown, North Atlanta. I've been in shelters, homeless. I've been in the woods, sleeping in the woods. I've been in the shelters in Atlanta. I've been sleeping on floors, and then I had meeting my boss. And that's a whole nother story. And the funny thing is, the Most High does everything for a reason. Because when I was in the shelter, this guy comes next to my bed talking to another guy about a construction job, talking about they're gonna have the job, having work in Florida. So I'm watching the guy walk around the dorm, and so I get out my bed, and then I go ask him like, "Yo, what's up? I want that job," and stuff like that. So I hound him for about a week or two. He hooks me up with another guy. I hound him for about a week or two, and then the guy says, "Okay, I'm gonna take you." He brings me to some Gentiles, and the Gentiles basically, after working with them for a bit, he asked me to come stay with him. So I ended up moving out of the shelter and going with the Gentiles. So I'm staying with him at his house in Atlanta, and then I go with him back and forth to Florida and Atlanta, and then I kind of find out there's a lot of spiritual stuff going on with them. His moms, they worth a lot of money and stuff like that. His mother told me how she used the Jobit prayer. So that's how they expand their territory and stuff like that. But then they got statues everywhere. I'm talking about in the backyard, in the front yard. It was a statue with like a demon and stuff like that. And I asked the son, the boss, I said, "Yo, like, what is?" Because something happened to me in the house. I was in the house, and it felt like I was making my prayer, and something heavy was coming on my brain. It really felt heavy, and it was like it felt like if I would have not wrestled it back, it would have like kind of made me like weird or something, maybe crazy or docile. So I came at it like, "No weapon that is formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against me in judgment, Yah shall condemn. I can do all things through the Messiah that strengthens me. I have the victory. Great is He that is in me than he that is in the world." And when I did that really aggressive, it kind of went away and stuff like that. And I was having a lot of awkward dreams in there too. I was even having out of body experiences where I could see myself sitting in the hallway or the entrance of the house, and I can hear what's going on in the next room while my room is all the way over there. So my body is in the room. I'm in the living room hearing what's going on in the next room, and you know what I mean, like husband and wife stuff. And I mean, you can't hear it throughout the house because I'm in the room. My room is all the way on the other side of the house. So I'm in the living room, like next to the door to the entrance of the house, and I can hear in the other bedroom where my boss and his women is at, and I can hear them doing their thing. And I'm like, whoa, like, so, and this happened to me a few times, like where I seen myself like walking around a house or something like that, but not in my body, like almost like Paul said, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. Only Yah knows and stuff like that. Yo, I'm telling you, man. If this sound weird, I've listened to videos with people that used to practice Satanism, and they talk about the same thing about them having out of body experiences, them having visions and dreams, them talking to the devil. So I'm like, if Israelites ain't got none of this power going or this experience with the Most High, I'm like, then you Hebrew Israelites ain't got no power. Because I'm like, you got Satanists that are practicing this stuff. They're not doing this just to look good. They're not wearing the clothes just to look like it's a hobby or something like that, or they're down with a clique or a crew or whatever. They practicing some real stuff. And they doing stuff. They leaving, they astral projecting. They leaving their bodies. They going out to dealing with principalities, pitting certain sicknesses and illnesses and crime and all that in different communities and stuff like that. They're dealing with regions. They're dealing with different demons. They know about causing sicknesses on people. Even my family that used to practice Santeria, I'm not going to get into too much, but I know stories of them doing stuff to other people and other people, things happening to other people because of what they was doing. So this power that a lot of people don't know about this. Now, I'm talking to the Israelites that don't know about this or think that this is fake. Because I spoke to a few and they were like, "Oh man, that's that devil." So I'm like, then I guess you're not reading the scriptures then, because Yahushua was casting out devils. Paul and them was casting out devils. Paul was healing people. Paul, remember when Paul, when the young boy died, fell out the window? Paul ran down and hugged him and brought him back to life. And so, what about when Peter, when he was at the gate, called Beautiful, when the man's leg was all crippled and he healed it, or when him and them got released from the prison, from the angel, when the angel walked them out of the prison gates. So all of this stuff is spiritual stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's in the book of Acts. So, all of this is deep, and I'm still learning it. And then you go into the Old Testament. Oh my goodness! I just read into that story when I was reading in I think it was in Kings 19, when Hezekiah prayed to the Most High because the Assyrian kings was going to come and try to take over Judah, and basically the Most High said he heard his prayer, and he said he sent the angel out that night and killed a few thousand of the Assyrian king's men, and then when he went back to go pray to his Elohim, his 2 sons came and murdered him. Like you could see, like that's that's what I think First Kings chapter 19. You know what I mean? Like this thing, and then that actually goes into the funny thing is that story leaks into Tobit, because I was reading about Tobit and I was actually seeing it was kind of the same time, and I was like, wow, like this, like I said, I'm not gonna say I know everything. I'm still a babe and stuff like that. I'm reading the scriptures. Am I a teacher? No, I'm not trying to be a teacher. I'm just giving you guys my experience. Take it or leave it. At the end of the day, I know as long as I stay in the way with the Most High and I continue to pray and fast and I ask the Most High to forgive me if I do anything kind of slightly stupid and stuff like that. because every single day I try to repent for something or at least ask for forgiveness and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, we are sinners and stuff like that. So. And I was watching. I'm not trying to knock nobody, but I did watch one thing about Ron Dalton, and when he was talking about when the thing about mixed relationships, he made the comment about if that's the case, then Israel's gonna have to be repenting every day. I'm like, wait a minute, yeah, we're supposed to repent every day because we are born in sin and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You got to be a real arrogant person to think that you don't. Every single day you need to be asking for forgiveness, even if you didn't do anything, because you probably did do something, even if you can't remember it and stuff like that. My personal opinion on that, and I got to go back into the law because I was looking into the law, and I've still got to get deep into the laws about relationships and stuff like that. My thing is this. It's hard for me to believe that we got to, we got respect and love for David, Solomon, and all of the prophets, and Samson, and all of them. But at the end of the day, just because they did something doesn't mean we have to do it and stuff like that. That's how I look at it. I look at it like, okay, the Most High told us, he gave us laws, but technically our people been breaking the law and stuff like that. That's the whole reason why Yahusha came and stuff like that. Even though, so if people want to argue with the fact that, okay, Yahusha got mixed blood, Judah has mixed blood, because Yahusha's with Obed, and we could talk about Ruth and stuff like that, and go into other women that was mixed and stuff like that. The point still is Yahusha came and as it says in the book of Ezekiel, the Most High when he comes, he's going to heal us. He's going to cleanse our blood. He's going to cleanse us and stuff like that. Because we erred. That's the reason why we in this captivity today. So what I believe. I believe in sojourners. I believe in that other ethnicities can come into this and believe in the Most High, worship and praise Him and stuff like that. But my focus is only us and stuff like that. My focus is as far as relationship wise. I'm not going to really stress my brain on and be like, oh man, this brother need to be with that white girl because she believes. My thing is, look, I mean, you can do whatever you want to do and stuff like that. Me personally, I'm not doing it. Because I'm not trying to crack no eggs and stuff like that. I'm not trying to walk on I'm walking on eggshells as is. I'm not trying to make no, it's almost like you might as well just play safe and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yo, if the safe thing is, okay, I'm with a sister. I'm going to just be with her. Like, I'm good. Like, we play safe. Why am I going to take the risk of going with a Gentile and she's of another nation and, freaking tribulation comes and judgment day and I'm in error because I thought we could mix but the Most High told he made a set apart people. He made Israel to be Israel. We are set apart and stuff like that. That's the whole point. We are the children of the prophets and stuff like that. So if you can't understand that, first of all, if we're the children of the prophets, the Gentiles are not the children of the prophets. So you can't. Why would you want to even mix that? You would want to keep that. One thing I can say is, one of the coolest dreams I did have too was, interesting was one time I seen a whole bunch of people. It was like they was hiding in like a cave or a building or something like that, and I remember looking and I seen all of the street stores boarded up. Like it was like everything was boarded up, like out of business. And then I looked at the sky, and I seen something red falling from the sky. And then I seen a brother running across the street to me. And when he came up to the fence, he said, "It's AI." He said, "It's AI." Now, at the time, I was thinking alien invasion at first. But I ran into a Christian bus driver on a bus, and when I told him the dream, he said, maybe it means artificial intelligence. And the funny thing is, I'm like, you know what? Wow. Because I've had a lot of experience with stuff even happening with technology, with seeing certain figures and stuff dealing with the TV, dealing with my phone, and then also my visions of the alien heads, which are demons, and then, you can see this whole movement in the future with 5G. And I had this vision also with a whole, like, red net around the world and stuff like that. Like I said, I'll be here all day if I was going to be trying to explain all of this to y'all. All I'm trying to say is this. It may not mean much to y'all. I don't know if this really... I may be a little everywhere with this video. I may be a little... But this is me. This is who I am. Raphael Yehuda Yisrael. I'm thankful that the Most High has had mercy on me. I am alive. It's been many times that I could have lost my life due to overdose of drugs. I got into car accidents where I messed up my shoulder. My shoulder was out of socket. My homeboy's head got stitched up and all of that. The car was totaled. I ain't gonna get it. I've had situations, knuckleheads in the streets, bugging out, all of that type of knucklehead stuff. I've had people, I ain't gonna get into all of that type of stuff. But the point is, I'm alive. And so I've been very blessed and fortunate to survive. And I know the reason why I've been able to make it this far is because of the Most High. Because just like any of our easy pickings, I'm not Superman. I mean, if it was nothing else, I was making money in the streets. I trust me, there's a lot of people that would have had no problem knocking my head off just to get my money and my phone and stuff like that. Even in my wickedness, I believe the Most High still protected me and stuff like that. Not saying he agreed with what I was doing, but what I'm saying is that the mercy was there to where it allowed me time to get myself together, because I did go astray. I was in the word, but I didn't know. I didn't have understanding at the time. I was that young man in Proverbs 7. I was that young man that went her way, void of understanding. And what I think I gained now is I've gained over these years a lot more experience and understanding of how the dark world is, and now I'm learning the good stuff and stuff. And even with certain, just every aspect of, it's kind of like being almost well-rounded, where I'm like, okay, I've been here, and now I'm here, and stuff like that. I've seen this, and now I'm seeing this, and stuff. That's just my, my take on it, because, I've met people that don't know none of the stuff I'm talking about because they haven't been there. People ain't never been in crack houses before. People ain't never picked up mad drugs and took felony chances, 25 to life chances. People ain't never held pistols. People ain't never been smelling gun smoke and stuff like that. Nigga dudes doing dumb stuff and all of that. People ain't been, and some of us do, because we black. We go through this. It don't matter which city you in. Stuff like that. You could be, look at the Watchmen of the World constantly talking about, Detroit is a war zone. Look at Chicago. We all know about Chicago. Look at Los Angeles, down to New Orleans. I was in Atlanta. Dudes was getting bugged out. I got off the Greyhound right when I came from the Watchmen of the Boards event in 2018. 2 people got shot right across the street from the Greyhound where I get my ice cream at. Because I was living downtown right there. My shelter was right there. And stuff like that. So I'm getting off the bus. The whole block taped off. Dude shot the girl, ran around the doggone thing. The police is chasing him. And then he goes and shoot another woman. I'm like, how in the world this dude killed 2 people while the cops is there? Like, that's crazy. And stuff like that. It's just, it was zombie land down there. Homeless people, drug addicts. So we all going through it. We all going through it. And so some of us don't really, some of us are fortunate to probably not really go through all of this stuff. But, and of course, I don't believe, I'm not cursed. I'm past that. I'm not even holding, I've been cursed. I'm blessed and stuff like that. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm blessed. Have I been going through some trials? Yeah. Have I been going through some tests? Yeah. Have I been whining at times? Yeah. And I'm starting to grow up. I'm starting to get it. It's like, the funny thing is I'm a 3-year-old babe. What does 3-year-olds do? 3-year-olds cry and whine. Mama. So it is what it is. But anyway, bless every single one of you who get this, to watch this. And this is just my testimony. It may not be as organized, but this is just who I am. And I'm just thankful because I don't got to be here. I don't. Most High didn't have to let me live. For real. Like that song, the Watchmen, the boy, and the kids sing. One more time. You didn't have to let me live. You didn't have to let me live. In your service. You're glad to be in your service. One more time. You know? So I have another opportunity to make everything right that I did wrong. And this time around, I'm not taking no chances. Hallelujah. To the Yahuwah Elohim. Bashmem. Baruch, Baruch, Yahuwah. All glory and praises due in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Hallelujah. So bless every single one of you. Take it easy.